Alrighty, guys, so we have the dominance still sitting at 51%, and what I am starting to see is possible early signs of us finally getting that dominance drop we've been speaking about. We are sitting on support. We still have Bitcoin sitting at $42,700, and what we are waiting for is the next big move. What we got was the rejection of the $49,000 level. We've come down now, we're still holding the 40,000s, and we are trending sideways. And what this always means is preparation for the next big move. And this is why we are zooming in not only on Bitcoin, we obviously want to know, is Bitcoin going to go tempt the highs again, or is Bitcoin going to sit in the range and we're obviously going to see the altcoins flying? We are not getting a massive dominance bounce any moment just yet. So we are still seeing a lot of weakness when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, which is still giving us a lot of hope, but also a lot of early signs that the altcoins are still not done just yet. So today I'm going to be speaking about the trades that we took yesterday and the new ones that I'm looking for, but we're also going through the portfolios. And I'm going to be going through Rand's portfolio of all the best tokens that he thinks fundamentally you should be in the market with. And I'm going to be going through these in the high time frame to see what are we buying as investments right now at these areas, what are too expensive in these areas, and if we have the default, what are we going to do? Now, we're also going to be speaking about Solana, as there is a big Jupiter airdrop coming, and we're looking at up to what is it, $1 billion? Up to $1 billion coming into the ecosystem. So is Solana about to have another mega pump as well? Guys, the sideways are boring. Yeah, it's not much happening right now. We have load shedding in South Africa as we speak. And we have our UPS going crazy, South Africa. Again, we're going sideways, but I'm here to keep you focused and to show you that every single best investment entry. We lost sound. Oh, let's have a look. There we go. Okay, this is correct. Every single time the market has gone sideways, it's always been the time to get the best entry, guys. When the market's already moved, that's the time you should be ready PM. So I'm glad you guys are all here. It's a big show. I've been promoted. I'm back on the main channel. Come on, baby. Come on, 2024. We had our biggest live event in Sniper School last night. I'm pumped. I hope you're pumped. We got the coffee ready. We even have this man in the house. Show your face. Brian is in the house. He's here. He promised me at the time he started Sniper School, he started building his accounts, and he said, if I get to $100,000, I'm coming to South Africa. Now he's at $200,000, so we're gonna have
Yo, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so
some bombs with us.
This will be the third installment of the
impact
Vector
in the
Candle
space.
strategy.
So much time within the school, so much time within the bank banter ecosystem, and he's doing such incredible things. And he's made a massive success of his portfolio. So I think you're gonna be able to help a lot of people today that are afraid of the dip that's happening right now, and afraid of making money and keeping it in general. And I think we're gonna sit together today and we're gonna blow their minds. Got a deal?
Gratitude isn't found at the top; it's carried from the bottom. Thank you for showing me the way from the bottom.
I'm so happy you're here. Okay, guys, never wasting time. Let's go. Alrighty, guys, what's happening? If you're brand new to the channel, hit the subscribe button if you want to join the best community in the world. We got each other's back. We care about each other, and this is a family. So subscribe if you are not a subscriber to Crypto Banter. There's a few things. Make sure you have Banter Bubbles. We have created Banter Bubbles, one of the best tools that you can use when the market is moving. So if you click on here, you can get it on your app store. You can get it on your phone, and it's the best tool to help you see what is showing strength whenever the market's moving. So markets are dumping, what's dumping the hardest, what is showing strength to the markets, and obviously if the market is pumping, what is looking incredibly strong. And we can see we are getting a small pullback from Bitcoin now over the last 30 minutes, let's say. But Solana is up, Render is up, Chiliz is up, Phantom is up, Nia is up. So what it does is it highlights, out of 10,000 coins, what is showing strength right now. So it helps you identify where you should be focusing. And that's what it is in crypto. Money is always going to move around. And that's why you'll see gaming was on fire 6 weeks ago. It was absolutely flying, slightly slowing down now. But we spoke yesterday about gaming starting to break out. But what happened next? We went to L1s, right? We saw Cardano started to move. We saw, obviously, Solana's been pumping. We saw Phantom start to wake up. So money rotates through. So this tool will help you a lot with that. And again, if you want to become incredibly good in crypto, you remove the dollar from your mind. You remove the dollar from your mind. All that you are focused on is what is outperforming Bitcoin and when is Bitcoin outperforming the rest of the market. And by doing that, you're actually never exiting the market. You're only shifting between altcoins and Bitcoin and altcoins and Bitcoin. And what that does is it never gets you out of the market, but it also reminds you, why are we jumping back to the worst currency on the planet? Why are we jumping to a depreciating asset all the time? And we're always worried about the damn dollar. The moment you forget about that, it changes everything. So I want to remind you again, you go to the top right corner over here on your Banter Bubbles, you go to the settings section here, and you change it to the Bitcoin pairing. You want to see what is outperforming Bitcoin. And now, again, you could see over the last hour, look at the strength of some of these altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin at the moment. So the moment you can start to understand that, it may take you a little bit of time to understand that, you're changing your whole life to learn a new currency and learn to trade to a new currency. But guys, it's not that tough once you start actually understanding it. So make sure you are part of that. And again, guys, there's one more week for you to get finally verified. If you are part of Sniper School, finish your verification in order to book your slot for the main events next week. You won't be able to access it if you are not verified. So it's super, super, super important to do that. Okay, guys, let's jump straight into what's happening at the moment. So Bitcoin is sort of hovering. I'm still looking at the short-term bounce here at the moment. It is still holding the main momentum line. So again, it's the momentum line that shows that, yes, we've had a bit of a dip off. We did have a strong rejection at 49,000, but Bitcoin's still currently holding momentum support. And this was the original support that came from 33,000 all the way to the 50K zone. And it was actually a really good time to always add to your positions whenever we came to the support trend. And why you're not afraid of that is because you will start getting early signs if the bigger pullback's happening, right? The question is the top end for Bitcoin right now, or are we going down to 35K? And this trend line is going to help you a lot with that. So if you start to see over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, we start losing this, it's very likely that Bitcoin will come down to the next supports. Right now, you have 2 to 3 major supports on Bitcoin. The first one is here above the $40,000 to $42,000 level. That's the first support zone, a place we have bounced multiple times before. So what this usually means is you will slightly DCA in good areas of support buys on altcoins, as well as possibly Bitcoin at the zone. In the back of your head, though, you do know that there is other supports if we start to lose the trend. So if Bitcoin does decide to start losing that 42,000 over the next 48 hours, you're not afraid of it. You're looking at the next levels of taking advantage of the dips. Now, guys, dips and redness is your friend. It will always be your friend. It's scary. It brings out tons of emotions, makes you really scared, but it's always the best time to be loading up and to be building parts of your portfolio. Therefore, when the bounce happens, market starts to go up, you're in already, you're accumulating on discounts. Think about it. A lot of people bought Bitcoin at 49,000 last week. A lot of people bought at 40,000 and they don't want to buy at 42. And that's the big trap that you're going to see a lot of times in crypto. So why I love TA and why I've always loved charts is non-emotional, right? When it's there, you do this. And that's exactly where we're at. So I'm still looking at the short-term bounce on Bitcoin. And like I said, there is the support at 42. And then there is the opportunity of, and I say opportunity, not destruction or not a bad thing. If Bitcoin does decide to come lower, and those supports are at $37,000 to $38,000 as the next one, and then we do have up to 34,000 as well. But we'll take it day by day by now. Until we've lost the trend, we are not going there. And that's the simple way that you got to see it. So right now, I'm still looking at the push up. I am still slightly worried about the big rejection that we had on the weekly. That was obviously quite a big reversal candle that we had. And again, we rejected the main bull run trend line, the one that we want to get back above and the one that will show us all-time high breaks at some point. We have had the temporary rejection over there. And that's why we are fishing over here to see, okay, Bitcoin deciding to come down here now for a cool down, or are we going to attempt again? And that's why focus point over here is super important. Now, I want to show you why it's super important, because where was the best time to focus before was when we went sideways over here, right? We went sideways for what, up to 5, 6, 7 weeks in this area. And that was the best time to be focused and get entries in the markets. The same time in these sections over here. Again, don't be afraid of the sideways now. Start preparing on what you're going to do if Bitcoin goes to 35K. I would say it's massive opportunities. And we're going to quickly speak about this. Right now, we have dominance sitting on a major level. So we have this scenario of Bitcoin going to 35,000. If it goes to 35,000, we are afraid that the dominance goes up in that time. If that does happen, you could be looking at up to a 30% drop within altcoins. Now, the problem is with that, I won't say the problem, but the thing about that is altcoins never got going just yet. I do want to remind you, we are still holding very much. Let's just go over here and let's go to the total 3. We are still very much holding the total 3 bull market line. So let's just find this and just see where the total 3 is. It was set up over here. Let's have a look. There we go. Okay, there's the total 3. So we are still currently holding the bull market line. And what I call the bull market line is that line over there, right? The one we finally got through. And it was the previous time that we held this. We obviously saw the altcoin market go to up to $1 trillion. We're sitting at 500 billion at the moment. And we finally got back above that. So until we're below this, or if we do, for me, this is the area over here to accumulate the altcoins. But there is the scenario of maybe Bitcoin going to 35K. Now, if the dominance decides to go up, alts will get murdered. But for me, it would be the capitulation of altcoins. It would be that major big event. There always has to be that big dip off before we have the big pump, right? That's how they trap the entire market. They send the market down, absolutely terrifies everyone, shakes everyone out, liquidates tons of people, and then gets going. So in my head, it's like, I don't want it to happen, but I really do want it to happen. If we can get another 30% special on altcoins, if that possibly happens. But then you got the other side as well, which Bitcoin decides to go down and dominance decides to go down too. And therefore, for me, it will just show that we have started alt season right now. And I think that's the question. Is there another dip coming first, or is alt season just going to rocket at any moment now and start to fly through? So this next week or two is going to be interesting to see how everything unfolds. But as things stand right now, let's speak about the next day or two. I'm still seeing the push up from Bitcoin, and I'm looking at around $46,000. I'm not looking at much more than that. I'm preparing for the bad scenario. The bad scenario is Bitcoin goes up, makes a lower high, and decides to come down from there. So in that time, though, I am seeing obviously a growth of up to 10% in Bitcoin. And why I'm still interested in obviously some altcoin trades at the moment is because we do obviously have the dominance really coming down hard at the moment and possibly about to accelerate a lot. Now, even if Bitcoin goes up in the period of the next 48 hours or the next 72 hours of 10% to the upside, and this dominance comes down over here, you have the opportunity of alts going up 20, 30% in that time. Obviously, if Bitcoin does reject there, alts would also reject. But we also have the scenario where Bitcoin can literally just go to 46 and sit flat sideways, and this dominance can just come down and down and down. Now, you got to remember, there was also a big thing that happened with dominance. They played a little trap on us last week where they sent the dominance up before the ETF. Got everyone thinking, should I sell my altcoins into Bitcoin? And now we are back below that trend line. And why it's so important, I see there's a crazy wick here, which looks not correct. That's not correct. We haven't had a massive drop in that dominance like that, but that's what I'm seeing happening is this weekly to come down over the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to the downside. That means Bitcoin can literally just sit in the $40,000 mark, and you could still have that massive explosion of the total 3. And again, my targets for the total 3 is us pushing up to the areas of up to $650 to $700 billion in the altcoin market. So there's still money to be made. Feels uncomfortable, feels boring, but guess what? Even Rand's a little bit bearish. Is it very bearish? Yeah. So the research team is bearish, Rand's bearish. So I'm long. I'm long again. So I want to show you guys again over here. We took some trades yesterday. We took the Phantom, Cardano, and Rune trade. I still think the Rune trade's available if you guys are looking for some short-term trades over there. But again, I'm not making any big investment decisions with my portfolio right now, but I am taking advantage of my trading portfolio and getting some of the entries right now for that temporary bounce. Because end of the day, if Bitcoin goes to 46 and that dominance comes down hard, you will see a massive push within altcoins. And I don't want to say no to money. So I'm still long on Phantom, Cardano, and Rune at the moment. I showed you guys yesterday why I'm long on those, because if you look at a lot of these charts, Cardano to Bitcoin on the weekly has broken. So I'm looking at strength of Cardano outperforming Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. This chart looks really good. We've had the big golden cross. We're sitting on the 200 daily. I'm looking at upside over here. And I showed the same when it comes to Phantom to Bitcoin, Phantom to Ethereum, Cardano to Ethereum. Now I'm basically charting a lot of my alts to the big daddy coins, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And they saying that it's the best buys right now. If you look at a simple chart right now, it's saying it's the best time to accumulate some Cardano, especially if you compare it to Bitcoin, especially if you compare it to altcoins. So I still think Cardano is at a great area of investment entries. But I'll be going through tons of these coins with you guys a little bit later on in the show. And we'll be speaking about what's in buy zones now for our portfolios. I will be bringing up the portfolio as well over here to show you guys to remember to categorize your tokens. Please make sure you're not over leveraged on, not over leveraged, but don't have too much money in small cap coins. You are having a level head and you're keeping things balanced between low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Very important for you to be doing that. So going back to over here, let's go quickly back in. Let's just see where this is at. Boom. Okay. Guys, I got a few other coins that's also showing a little bit of strength today. So again, Cardano is breaking short-term trends. So I'm looking at a Cardano push to the upside. Another coin that's looking pretty strong, that's close to a breakout. Pay attention to the breakout today is AVAX. So AVAX obviously ripped really hard over the last couple of weeks to $50. A lot of interest back when it comes to AVAX. And what it is forming is this little nice flag at the moment over here. And if we break this flag, I am seeing the acceleration to the upside over here. So it looks like AVAX is one token that's waiting for Bitcoin, but it's showing a lot of strength as soon as Bitcoin shows a little bit of greenness. AVAX is starting to pop up pretty quickly. So again, another nice little short-term possibility trade that's happening there. My Phantom is also, I'm looking at a rocket from Phantom over here. And I'm looking at 50 cents. I'm looking at 56 cents. And therefore, that for my trades over here, I can end up with my $7,000, making 20K off of that specific trade over there. So Phantom's also looking pretty good. Just rolling out a few short-term trades here quickly, guys. The next one here is GRT. GRT is also at a good level, holding support, higher low at the moment, and I am seeing a push to the upside. Again, everything will be ruined if Bitcoin decides to dump hard, but that doesn't matter. The sense of the matter is where we at right now. Putting a stop loss here, your risk is low and your reward is worth it if it goes in your favor. And that's all you can do as a trader, as an investor. A lot of these sort of things is the probabilities of winning or losing. You got a 50-50 of either way. We have to run off what Bitcoin's going to do, right? But if it goes wrong, I'm losing 3%. And if it goes correct, I am making up to 30% within the trade. So GRT is another short-term coin to focus on, as well as Matic. So I don't think these coins are done. These coins only just got going. And again, I want to zoom out to the higher time frame. They haven't pulled back much. So a lot of these coins, I don't see major reversals yet. I only but see healthy corrections at the moment. Very similar to what we saw with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin went from 17K to 25K back to 21. Then it went to 28K, back to 25, went to 32, back. As long as you're having these healthy corrections where your green leg is bigger than your red leg, we're still in an uptrend, and don't fall the trap that we're not. So again, jumping back here to Matic, it still looks like one of the good tokens, and it has really nice structure. You could see if we zoom in slightly, you could see that we have this beautiful. This is actually very easy to make money on trades like this, guys. And I'm gonna be honest with it. The reason why I'm saying is if you can find any trend line that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 touches. If it breaks through here, you have a very high probability of making money on that trade. Okay. The only thing is we know that there's a lot of resistance coming on Bitcoin close to, that $46,000 zone. So you'll make money on this trade. All that you're looking at is if Bitcoin gets to 46, starts to slow down, take some early profits, but don't say no to the money. So you're not thinking about maybe the 40% trade yet, but making money for the day or for the next 2-3 days. It's not hard when you do find a trade like this. Plus, if you look at where it pulled back to, it's sitting on the 618 golden zone right now as we speak. So those are a couple of the short-term trades that are looking good. I'm still looking at an Ethereum blow up. I'm still looking at Ethereum explode to the upside. I do think there's some short-term possibilities of a little bit of adding here to your spot trades or things like that for Ethereum. And I'm still looking at the push to $3,000. This is the support you want to hold, which is 2,400. As long as we hold that, that probability is still available there for you. And we're obviously waiting very patiently to see, are we going to have the explosion from ETH to Bitcoin? It's just holding outside this trend. Just holding. And at any moment, the longer we hold here, and if we do have the bounce from Bitcoin and the drop in dominance, guys, if we get this thing going properly, you will see a lot of the older coins pump. So one thing that we did see when Ethereum went from 2100 to 2500 is we saw a lot of the older coins wake up, the things as Cardanos, a lot of these tokens, and I see that continue. If Ethereum decides to come to the party and continue up, your Bitcoin Cashes, your Litecoins, all of these sort of things start coming to life. Doesn't matter if they're older coins or not. Money rotates in the ecosystem. And what's nice about when Ethereum gets going, a lot of the higher cap tokens get going too. A lot of your top 20, top 30 tokens get moving. And you got to think about it. At the beginning of the year, we had a lot of the later coins pumping. And now we're starting to get the bigger caps coming in, which is ultimately is going to bring a lot more money into the market than what all these little small coins are going to do. So again, Ethereum is one we're being patient for. I'm happy that it's holding. I'm happy that it's still holding the breaker trend. I'm just looking at the strong extension to the upside over here. Okay, guys, let's go through quickly some of investment coins. So if you're looking at some of your portfolio and you're looking at what to buy right now, there are two scenarios, and you got to put yourself in the boat right now. You're at the verge of one of the biggest possible dominance drops we have seen in the last 2 years, right? But the possibility of dominance coming down to 46, 47, okay? And this can happen with Bitcoin just going sideways or just holding 40 or 39K. Doesn't matter. If Bitcoin stays in this range and that dominance comes down hard, you will get a lot of growth within altcoins. So what that automatically puts in your head is, okay, this could be a great opportunity to get some good investment entries, okay? But then we also got the other side where Bitcoin can go to 32,000, okay? So you got to put yourself in the boat of, right now we can explode or we can dump, which sounds crazy, but it's true. So for me, it comes down to 50% of the opportunities I see that are in great levels, breaking great areas now, I'm starting to deploy some of my cash at these areas. We are not promised that dump. We are not promised that dump to come down hard. And that's why I'm taking advantage of what I'm seeing at crazy levels at the moment. And I'm also preparing. That's why I'm not deploying all cash that I have right now for the bigger drop until we can confirm that, the low is in, the temporary low is in, and altcoins are going to explode. So let's go through a couple of coins over here. The first one I want to quickly speak about is Illuvium. Illuvium, a really, really, really good gaming section. And we are seeing a lot of gaming tokens starting to wake up again. So again, I would make sure that gaming, if you bought gaming 6 weeks ago, you're buying the top. But now it's 6 weeks later and you have gaming retraced to good support areas. And remember, gaming for me is still going to be one of the top narratives when it comes to actual results of making money in the next bull markets. And one of those is Illuvium. And why I'm bringing this chart to your attention is because I still believe you have one of the best opportunities here if you look at a chart. Look at that. Incredible of where we at the moment. So we have a very strong weekly bull flag at the moment. And these areas here between the $80 and $90 for me is my perfect dollar costing zone over here. When you will start to see acceleration from this token is once you get through this trend over here, which is around the $100 mark, then you'll start to see acceleration. And where you'll start to see real acceleration is once we get through the high that we stopped at. So if you look at the high that we stopped at, that's the range top over there. And why it's so important and why we do have rejection there, if we get through that, guys, the next resistance is all the way at $270. So it makes sense that it had a short-term little pullback over there. But if we break through and get this entry, this could end up being a 1, 2, 3x sort of entry that we're looking at. So for me, this is a little bit of a higher time frame investment token that we're looking at. Now I'm going to roll through this list quickly. Bitcoin, not at the entry to buy. For investments, it's not right at the moment. I would rather wait to see if this happens. To be honest, the best place to wait for Bitcoin buy is around 35 to 37,000, in my opinion. That for me is a decent, strong pullback. It's on support, and that for me is a relevant, like it's a good level to accumulate Bitcoin. Right now, I still think it's a bit expensive, and I think it's kind of risky because you're on the boat of a 20% possible drop at any moment. And the ETF's sort of done now, right? The narrative's sort of done. There's not much hype around Bitcoin, so I don't see what's going to give the strength for Bitcoin to go to 50 or 60K just yet, which means you don't have to have those massive alarm bells. You just be a bit patient. Unless what happens is we do explode, then we'll catch it a little bit high on the pullback. And you'd rather buy at the same level where you are right now, but rather buy on support than actually buying at resistance. So Bitcoin's not in that level just yet. Neither is Ethereum. Ethereum, we've bought, we're in, we're holding strong. But the good buys is the retest here. So 2100 is where we're looking at. So again, I want to bring up this portfolio and be honest with yourself. Okay. If you're sitting on a bunch of cash or you're sitting in the market right now, firstly, make sure it's categorized, but make sure what's at really good levels. You're trying to get an entry over here for the bull market. So don't mess around with this. This is a one shot, one opportunity. Do not get your chance to blow. Eminem dropping bombs, but it's true. It's true. It comes down to your major entries. So right now, Bitcoin, Ethereum's not in the zones. Solana. Let's actually, before I jump into the investment entries over here, let's quickly speak about the little breakout that's possibly about to happen. So if Solana breaks out of 100, 203, we're looking at another push. Now, it did stop at 130, but I still think the target of 150 is going to get hit. The question is, was the pullback going to happen first, where we go maybe back to 80, 70, 60, and then we explode there? Or are we going there straight away? But there's a lot of hype around this Jupiter airdrop that's happening. There's a lot of money to flow into the ecosystem. So we might get a Solana pump very soon, and it might just continue to rally. And the way you're going to detect that is that trend line over there on the 8-hour, guys. We've got really good 4 to 5 touches over here. If we start breaking through here, it's very likely that Solana is going to start moving. So there's no doubt about it that Solana is definitely one of the strongest tokens right now, especially the markets get bullish. Would I buy it as investment? No. Would I buy it to make money? Yes. But these are my investment entries, $85 and $62. Those are something that I want to buy for the bull market. So Solana's not there just yet. This token is there to start dollar costing, which is still Kujira. Remember, these tokens that I have over here for you guys have all been researched by Rand. These are a lot of fundamental tokens that he believes in, and he's done a lot of research on. So I'm not just dropping any random tokens over here. Rand the man, come on, he's the #1 fundamentalist in the world right now. You can't deny it. He's absolutely smashing it, and I'm very proud of him. So Kujira, there's an area here where we have bounced on a short-term 618 weekly, and we do have the RSI getting to the bottom. So here between the 3.6 and the $4, I am buying a little bit more Kujira. I do have in the back of my head that the dump might happen, and I do have this $2.60, $2.80, a little bit of cash on the side to get some Kujira. Let's speak about Casper for a second. So Casper actually hit a buy zone. It did hit one already, and it looks like it might want to come down a bit again. So Casper obviously had a massive explosion over the year. It's obviously one of the most powerful coins to the upside. But what I do like about it at the moment is it's going pretty sideways, and it's preparing for a big move. So what I'm looking at here is I got one buy zone, which is around about the 10 to the 11 cent mark. We're quite close to the top of the range over there to start dollar costing. And I do have the scenario of 8.5 to 9.9. But what you also want to look at is here, dollar costing a little bit into the position. And that trend line break over there too. So some coins just don't pull back and they just continue to rally. I do like, however, that the top was around 16 cents, and now we're looking to fish at around the 11 cents. So you are looking at around a 40% lower than the highs that we recently made over there. So if this trend decides to start breaking, that's why I'm seeing the acceleration. But right now, Casper's like, okay, if I had $1,000 put into Casper, I'm probably deploying around $300 at the moment. Let's look at the rest of these. Arbitrum, not at the moment, looking incredibly good and bullish. One that's looking good and is pulling back at the moment is Optimism. I still think Optimism is at a place of slightly dollar costing a bit more to your position, because reason why I'm saying is it finally broke out of this big range over here. And what it's done is it's come and retested support. And when these coins tend to do this, they tend to not really come back into these levels over here. And I'm still looking at Optimism go to $7, guys. So I would slightly DCA into Optimism. And again, all the tokens that I'm speaking, Optimism, Kujira, Casper, these are all my medium risk portfolio. So this is what 30% of my portfolio would be part of at the moment. Guys, I wouldn't go more than 10 coins. 5 to 10 coins per category. Just make sure you keep it. I would rather swap them out. So if one of the coins I've been in, like let's say Injective, is at $40 now, you've made a ton of money, I would maybe sell a little bit of Injective and look at a little bit of Optimism, a little bit of Casper. Play it smart. You don't have to just buy a million coins. That was one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people made in the last bull market, was they owned like 50 to 100 coins. How do you sell that when the market's moving? How do you manage that? It gets quite hard. So Optimism is a good one. Arbitrum's a bit expensive. One coin that I think is at a place of still buying at the moment and still dollar costing before the $18 mark is Chainlink. Chainlink is, again, one of your top coins. It's 5% up for the day. It's breaking a daily flag as we speak at the moment. And it looks like Chainlink really wants to rip to these higher areas of up to the $30 mark. So Chainlink, for me, I would still dollar cost. I would save a little bit of cash for maybe another $13 buy in case Bitcoin comes back. But Chainlink under medium risk is looking good. Another coin we've been waiting for that's in buy zone right now is Pyth. We've been waiting for this for a while to wake up, right? This is breaking trend, guys. This is a good one. This is a good one that I think is going to start rocketing strong. It's very bullish fundamentally on Pyth at the moment, but it is finally, as it launched, it made this long trend down. We are cracking that trend. So I'm looking at this definitely start to explode. I wouldn't get this much above 36 to 37 cents. It's getting nice time to buy a little bit late. But this would be the area to accumulate here. Pyth I would be adding to definitely to the portfolio. Another coin that's in a nice horizontal buy is Render. Render's looking good. Not only is it looking good, it's looking at possibly break the short-term trend, which means that bounce that I'm speaking about on Bitcoin, this will be one of the top performing bounces if that happens. So what I like about Render is, yes, it's grown a lot, but ultimately we have turned this resistance into support, and therefore I am prepared maybe for 3.5. I'll make sure that I do have some cash for that, but a little bit around the $4.20 mark makes sense as we are breaking a short-term trend. Guys, I'm looking at $8 as my next target. I'm looking at a really strong push to the major resistances of Render. Render's been building a lot, one of the best tokens performing in the bear markets, and it's one to take advantage of. Another one, this for me, I would get some in this area. I would, again, have a little bit of cash for maybe a crazy dip. Guys, I just want to remind you here, if Bitcoin decides to go to 35K, it's probably not going to last long, okay? If it decides to dump, it's probably going to happen in one day, and this would come off some sort of news. It will be there for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back at 40K at any moment. We've seen this now. We've been through that. So what you want to do is, if I'm giving you 2 buy zones now, there's an area of where I'm accumulating now, and the rest you go put limit orders for that lucky wick that comes at any moment, that when it comes down, it buys you and puts you into instant cash, right? So if you look at things like BitSensor at the moment, short term, we are breaking a great wedge, and we should go flying here. So I'm getting a little bit here, but with a little bit more cash, I'm putting in some orders. Orders around 200, orders around 190, just put that limit orders in case that wick happens on Bitcoin. It will happen quick, probably get bought up really fast too. So be prepared for that. Another one's in the buy zone. Let's quickly go back to the portfolio to see where we're at. Is GRT, medium risk, GRT. This coin I obviously still like a lot. I've spoken a lot about GRT over the year, over the last couple of months. For me, why I love it so much is it's still one of the tokens that are in the range. We saw any token that gets out of the top range starts to, I still have my way up. Any token that decides to pop out of the ranges, like a Chainlink, like a Solana, the tokens we've seen happen tend to move really quick. So right now you had the pump. You have the little retest on the 618. And again, I'm getting a token before the range breakout. So from here at any moment, I'm looking at another attempt. And if it is the one that finally gets through it, I'm looking at this thing get to 50 cents. So this is one that is still available for me at the moment. You've got things like Injective, too expensive. Way too expensive. I'm waiting for $21. And that's okay. It's okay that it's not in the buy zone. We have Doge, definitely in the buy zone. Definitely in accumulating. Yeah, it's taken long. We've spoken about Doge for a while. But that one day when it does a couple of 100% in a day, you'll understand why he did it. So Doge still falls under the medium risk one there. Then we got things like Arweave, one we've been waiting for. That's in a beautiful retest zone, guys. Break of long weekly trend, volume coming in, and now we're at this area. So again, this for me is a great area to get Arweave. I don't want to buy it much, $11. This is the area to accumulate. Maybe there's a wick to 8. It's up to you if you want to argue about 10% or 15%. For me, this is where I'm building the investment section on Arweave. And again, I'm looking at this push to the top of the range, which is $20. And if it gets through that, we're obviously looking at $30. So a lot of good opportunities. I'm glad that, what's funny about Rand? He has a lot of old coins in his portfolio. We actually need to talk about this. Because if I look at this portfolio over here, I don't know, I see Filecoin, I see Arweave, I see Curve, I see Thorchain, I see DYDX, I see Near. I see a lot of old coins. We need to actually have a chat about that. The next one, again, probably one of the biggest. If you're bullish on Arweave, Filecoin, I wouldn't say it's a competitor, but they're definitely in the same sort of category. So Filecoin is also one of the good ones. And that for me is at a 618 retest now. Hasn't broken out the range. My targets would be around 17 to 20 bucks. And right now, remember, if a coin's not out the range yet, means that any moment that extension can happen, but it means it may take a little bit of time here until it's out there, right? So I would accumulate and be patient. At least you bought this at a good area. This one obviously had a lot of problems last year, which was Curve. But we saw, so did Solana, right? Solana also had a lot of problems, and it ended up being the best opportunities ever. So if you look at where this is at right now, this is a massive opportunity. This falls under high risk, definitely. And when it breaks this major trend is where it will really start to rocket to the upside. So the longer that I can get it at the range low, the original range low, which not many tokens are at, the better. So Curve for me is still in that good opportunity zone of dollar costing as well as Uni. So just remember to what I'm saying is available now and what's not. Uni's in. We look at things like ThorChain. Close. It's close. I wouldn't mind dipping a little bit of my toes here. Again, I am long on ThorChain, especially shorter time frame. It's looking really strong as the market starts to wake up at any moment. But it had its cool down. It pumped to $7, back at 4.6. If you want to be conservative, wait for the trend line break. Wait for us to either come a little bit lower, which would be around the $3.5 to $4 would be a sweet spot. Or you could wait slightly to get the trend break, and then you're buying on a trend break, right? A ThorChain, I think, is getting very near. Now, if you're getting ThorChain, you want Thor swap too, right? Now, I would do it like this. If I have $1,000 to enter in ThorChain, I'll probably be looking at $300 to $200 in Thor swap. This is a gem from Ran. I personally accumulated quite a bit of this token, and this is right on support. The highs were at 50 cents. We are 50% back down, and we are on support at the moment. So again, what interests me about this is there was a crazy buy that happened a few weeks back. And what tends to happen when we have these massive wicks over here is we tend to go full that position at some point. So we'll start to make our way slowly up back to that area, and then it's very likely it will possibly dump. But if I look at that, that's a 3x. That's a 3x just to the top periods over here. So if I'm buying ThorChain, I'm buying Thor swap as well. Another token, which is Rollbit, which is in the area of 618. I don't know. This team has been very bullish on this token. And I never bought it. And it started to make money. And now it's at 618. Doesn't pull back much whenever we do have massive pullbacks. So right now it's on 618. And this is a good area to get some of it. Let's go quickly over here and go see where we categorize this. This would be under your high risk part of your portfolio. So not your very high risk, but your 25% part of your portfolio is Rollbit. Again, guys, this is in the industry. What is Rollbit exactly? Robert's Walk, gambling, and these sort of things. Again, if you do like that, we're also looking at the next one. They are sponsors of the show, but it's Redato. They also in the gambling space. We can build gambling platforms on their chain and things like that. So this is here. And again, if you look at this, it's not on any major exchanges yet. Not on any major centralized exchanges. So this would be on your Uniswaps and these sort of things of where you'd be getting it. But the token is still quite cheap. Me personally, I haven't bought. I need to get accumulated now. I really, really, really do. I need to actually get onto that pretty quick. But that's also one that's looking as a good opportunity. So you got Rollbit. Let's look at a few others here. We got Immutable X, not much. DYDX, decentralized exchanges, I still think are very good. This is in a good zone to still accumulate. We got things like GMX. Let's have a look. GMX, right on support. You can see my targets, guys. You can see my targets of where I'm seeing next. We have Nia. Nia's back. It went to nearly $5. It's back at 3.3 on support. So if you like Nia, I'll dip my toes. Nakamoto is finally back. It hit 618. So I wouldn't go much more than $1.4 to $1.5 on Nakamoto, but one of the most bullish gaming tokens out there. And I'm still looking at, $5 to $6 to $8 as a long-term sort of target on that. We got S Fund. That one's not there just yet. We got MVS. Well, it's Uncaged, which was the old monkey balls. This is very high risk. So now I'm going into very high risks. Very high risk over here. But we do, and we are still personally in this token, and we still believe a lot will happen here. And this is at the bottom of the range. It is very high risk though. So I wouldn't put more than 2 to 3, yeah, around 2 to 3% of your portfolio. Another one here, radium. If you like radium, that's great on support right now, looking really good. We've got something called chain flip. Do you know much about chain flip? No, Rand's quite bullish on this, and it's building a really nice flag. So it looks like it wants to come down to a short-term 618. So if I can get this around 4.8, I'm interested. And obviously conservative is breaking out over here and start to move. So guys, remember, if I'm showing you low risk, it means it's probably the best tokens that will hold if the market goes, okay? And it will probably be the slowest tokens if the market go up, okay? Medium risk, they'll go down a little bit more, but they'll hold a lot better than a lot of the tokens, and they'll go up a bit more as well. They'll outperform quite a bit. Obviously your high risk, the highest risk that I'm bringing would be your best performance to the upside and your worst to the downside. So that's why it's very important to time those buys and just getting them in good areas. Bonk. Hey, if you like Bonk, it's on the 618. It made a higher high. This could be the time. And if we draw a nice little trend here, it's got a beautiful flag, which we may break in the next couple of hours. So Bonk is over there. We've got things like Super accumulating, ready for another move. So didn't pull back much. It did have the little drop off here to these areas, but I still think it's relevantly cheap. I really do. If you look at where we've been at, it's showing some strength now. We know there's a lot going on there. So Super, a little bit here. Prepare for maybe a 40 cents at any moment. But again, I still have targets of up to $1.5 to $2 on Super. Another one that's obviously really good is Vulcan Forge on the retest now in support. So gaming. There's a lot of quite decent opportunities. Again, Phantom, a lot of these tokens. So guys, there are a whole bunch that I've been speaking about now that are still available. Yes, we're waiting short time frame to see what Bitcoin's going to do. For me, I'm taking advantage of what's there and what's there. So your Solanas are a little bit high. These things are a little bit high, but there's a lot of good opportunities. I want to bring Brian in over here. It's your time, bro.
There we go.
It's your time. Bro, I don't know if you mind quickly just sharing your journey over the last couple of months. Where you're at right now, obviously what everything's done for you. And I just feel there's a lot of people that need a little bit of pumping up out there and just a little bit of belief in themselves. We made, say again? Hope that at the end of the day, markets were ripping. Now they're a little bit down. Like, where are you at right now? What have you managed to accomplish in the last year? And what's your message to everyone out there at the moment? Like, where did they go? What did they do?
All I did was join school.
And I'm leaving. It's your show now.
All right.
No, take
How many likes do we need before I get my own show?
There we go. There's your
All
camera.
Yeah, man. Talent hits a target no one else can hit, but genius hits a target no one else can see. And your vision is your genius. So I just joined school, listened to it. You seem like a genuine dude. I'll tell you guys why I came out here. I came 11,000 miles to integrity check this team. I came 11,000 miles to heart check this team. And I'll tell you, you passed the test with flying colors. Man, I got picked up at the airport. People opened their doors for me. Shout out Terry Lynn. She drove me every inch of this country, man. Correct. And it was like, I've just been shown so much love. And I'm so impressed and happy with how much integrity you're surrounded by. If people knew what was going on the other side of this camera and how much love and how you were sharing with me about just everything, man, the personal struggles, the personal this, I mean, pain purifies. And for me, the journey out of this, like if you guys join sniper school and you put it in, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. But I had fuel. My pain was my fuel. And I was just on a mission. You can get in there.
I mean, tell them how you had 200K in your portfolio. What did you start with there? Like, what drove you?
Right now, we're at, I think I just did out there. We're about 214. And there's been ups and there's been downs. And
what did you start with?
$12,500.
Why $12,500? Why?
Because Sheldon was going to turn 400 into $1 million. I want $1 million, right? And one thing that I've learned is that everyone wants $1 million, but not everyone wants to become a millionaire. Right. And you're going to take your lumps in this market. And when it's red, if you can just see the light and continue on, you're going to make it. Right. They always say, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. Not everyone's going to make it. Not everyone is going to make it. But like just what you did just now, man, you just threw out so much alpha, so much alpha. And if people knew how much effort went into this, that you worked till 10 o'clock last night, got in here at the dawn of the morning. You have a team here working around the clock for everyone else's success. And yeah, man, I just appreciate you. So that's why I appreciate you too.
And guys, please pop in the comments. Like, I think this man needs to teach with me. So let us know. I think this man's got a story. I think he's got passion, and I think he's got the capability of changing millions of people's lives. And I'm proud of you, bro. I'm proud of you. You know, camera or not. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for inspiring me again too, and just thank you for giving us the chance.
We're on the other side of that camera, man, and you know what I love is that you told me how the camera became like a therapeutic thing to you. So the camera to you is your source of integrity.
It is.
So I know that you're not willing to disrespect it, and everybody who's on the other side of that they're loved. There's a love that goes into this. And so if there's money that can come with it, even better.
Thank you, bro.
All right,
thank you. Proud of you to go to 3,500 people live, bro. How do you feel? Guys, I love you out. Cut the system. Do school if you want to really give yourself a foundation. Do Sniper Club if you want coaches. Whatever it is, just become a good person, make money, and just become free. That's all I ask from you on this journey. You decide what tools you want. Everything's below. Everything's there, part of it. Just know I believe in you. Know that Brian believes in you. Know that all of us believe in you. And we love you guys lots. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
That's too quick. I'm not ready.
I'll wait.
Because it's a corrective wave, it doesn't really have a target. Hello, and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done very little since yesterday. The main support level for the current scenario, which is the idea of an unfolding wave 4, remains at $35,000. That's only support. It doesn't mean the price has to come down to 35,000. But the area between 41,800 and 35,000 is the main support area for the currently white scenario, in which the price could move quite directly to, new all-time highs, basically 125K. I might put in another 1-2 setup. I mentioned that in the last few videos because I'm still thinking about how to label this move to the upside. There might be another wave, another 1-2 setup, and then we have another 3-4. Basically, it could then push it more clearly towards 125K, but there's no rush to deal with that. This would only really impact targets in the medium term, long term. But yeah, the idea is Bitcoin is still caught in this correction. Very, very little price action today and yesterday. Bitcoin already dropped in a very direct fashion last Friday into this support area. And this could be an A, B, C structure. And that's what we are exploring on the smaller time frame. So we're going to take a look at that in a minute. Alternatively, we have the scenario of a B wave pullback, which can happen also, but it would take a break below 35K to confirm that. Below 35K, the first support is at 31,560. But if really this B wave scenario plays out, it will be likely to get at least to 27,570, maybe even 24,000. I really have a hard time to see the price get any lower. Okay, really, I don't see it that way, but it's of course possible. But I have a really hard time to see the price get down any lower. So for now, the idea is still that Bitcoin is fighting with a wave 4 support. Hasn't really moved much since Friday's drop. Some people might call it a flash crash. It wasn't really a lot, but yeah, it was for Bitcoin probably the most substantial drop since August last year. So let's take a look at the shorter time frame wave count. Okay, so now we're on the 1 hour chart here. You can see that on the 1 hour chart, really very little happened only. So the price dropped in, quite an, you could say, aggressive way on Friday, but that was it. It hit the defined support area, highlighted here in yellow, that I just showed you on the daily chart, between 41,800 and 35,000. And so far we can only see 3 waves down. That is possible. It is possible to call that already the first leg down of the wave 4 correction. But it seems like at the moment, until the price gives us more, let's say, more aggressive movement to the upside, it seems like it may want to drop once more and form 5 waves down in wave A. This is sort of what I see as potentially very likely. But then again, as I said yesterday, an A wave doesn't need to be a 5-wave move. A 3-wave move is completely sufficient. So I'm open to both pathways here at the moment. But until we get a sustained break out of this flag pattern to the upside, I'm still watching for potentially another low. Yeah. So this flag pattern is obviously guiding the price right now. We might adjust the trend line here a little bit. It becomes a more parallel trend channel, but it's what you would call a bear flag. Now, if that gets too massive, also in duration, at some point we might just call it the P wave because it is then large enough and it might just carry on for a bit. Yeah. But at the moment, I can still call it a wave 4 of an unfolding A wave. That might change in the next 1 or 2 days, depending on how long it gets. And be aware that a wave 4 and a wave 2, it still should look acceptable in terms of proportion. Sometimes you see distortions in the crypto market, but at the moment, I keep that door open for one more low in wave A. In this scenario, looking at the micro count, that's the short-term bearish scenario. The market could have completed a so-called W, X, Y, X, Z correction, a very complex correction. You might label that differently. That's not so important. Just highlighting that, yeah, a corrective pattern could technically be complete here. And just watching for a potential breakdown. But it doesn't seem complete yet. Why? Because we haven't seen that rapid reaction into the other direction. So it might still extend further. We might see another push higher, failure, push higher. Okay, so just saying this might still change. But that's the short-term bearish scenario where from here, the price could form one more low to the target area between 39,314 and 40,887. In the short-term, but only short-term bullish scenario, the first wave down of this larger wave 4 correction is already done. I labeled it here as a W, but it could also be an A wave with 3 waves. It doesn't really matter at the moment, okay? So then the next move up, and it would need to break out of this channel to the upside ideally. Then we would see a Y wave, obviously to the upside here. So W, X, Y in an X wave, and then a Y wave down. Or it would be an A, B, C. It doesn't matter so much. If it's an A, B, C, then the A wave could just be the first wave of a flat structure. And a flat structure implies that the B wave could be quite aggressive. That's what I always say. Be aware that in wave 4 corrections especially, and this is likely one, it's going to be frustrating because B waves can overshoot. So while I gave you here a standard retracement or resistance area, it's between 44,220 and 47,300. Just because I gave you that, it doesn't mean the market needs to respect it. In a B wave, while there will likely be some reactions here, B waves can choose to overshoot. And the 50K level would definitely be a likely target for an overshooting B wave. The problem is a B wave, because it's a corrective wave, it doesn't really have a target. So you can only really map out the resistances. Be aware that B waves can overshoot, but B waves don't really have targets as such, unless you really have a clear subdivision that you can use to calculate the target of the C wave within that B wave. So we just have to be a bit flexible when we're dealing with B waves. I often say B waves aren't really great to trade. They should actually be avoided. Just trading for the sake of a B wave should be avoided. But yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. And if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P 500, daily video updates, as well as regular updates about stocks like, for example, Nvidia or Tesla, then check out our S&P 500 and stock service. You'll find the link directly below the video. It's the Patreon link for more trading online. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Linux Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video on Bitcoin. Your daily update. I mean, technically, the situation is kind of the same as yesterday, but there are some differences, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I mean, overall, yesterday we did get some big volatility when the US opened back up after a long weekend. So you could see that right here. We had some volatility. Followed up by a very quick recovery and even trying to get some sort of a bullish breakout above 43,250, which we did break above, but it was more of a fake out. And in general, the best thing to do is to look at the 4-hour time frame. And there you can also see, the main resistance level right now is just very clear. It's around 43,200 and 43,300. A strong technical level, 200 EMA. There are multiple EMAs in there. You also have the 236 fib of the entire move down. So that's a very strong level. And that, if we want to see some bullish momentum, that's the level to break. All right. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on whether I think it's most likely that that's going to break. I think that's what I said yesterday. And I still stand by that. All right. If I would have to give you my thoughts on whether it's more likely to get a bullish breakout or a bearish breakout, I would say a bullish breakout. I still think, even though the markets evidently right now are not as good as they were before, I still think fundamentally they're bullish. And if you look at Bitcoin, the volume is higher. It's not amazing, but it's around $24 billion. So there still very much is volume in the markets as well. So I don't say, look, and I said this yesterday as well, right now it's purely technically, it could go both ways. All right, purely technically, we could have a major bearish breakout here below 42,000 and crash down much lower towards 40,000. But you have to make a choice. When analyzing Bitcoin, you have to have some sort of a bias. And right now, my fundamental bias, even though, like I said, the circumstances in the market are not amazing, at the same point, Bitcoin dominance is at not an all-time low, but it is the lowest it's been since this whole bull run started for Bitcoin, which means something, all right? At least relative strength for Bitcoin. And usually when it goes up, the Bitcoin dominance, it's because Bitcoin is going up and not because altcoins are dropping down lower. We've seen that bearish momentum. And then apart from that, technically, we're also testing that resistance level much more in my eyes. We have bullish and bearish volatility, but we were pretty damn close to getting a bullish breakout yesterday. So that, in combination that we're not falling that quick right now, I would say technically we're also leaning towards the bullish side of the spectrum. And that's why I'm telling you, I think it's most likely that we can get some sort of a bullish breakout. But then again, my price target would be 44,400, 44,600. So it's not that I expect a huge bull run. At that level, we'll see again, because more bullish momentum is a possibility, but it's not what I expect for now. What I expect for now is still kind of choppy market circumstances, not a lot of movement, altcoins being slaughtered at times, and on the short term, a bit of recovery, a bit of bullish momentum. That's what I expect. All right. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say for now. I think so. If you do have any questions, of course, let me know. Don't forget to check out my premium and Signal group. Links to that will be down in the description or the pinned comment, but that's up to you if you want to check that out. Lots to learn there, but yeah, that's up to you. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.
Understand this graph, and you'll never feel stressed when trading options again. If you don't want to learn how to
Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Crypto Kip, and today we're going to be talking about the potential of a $1,000 test for Bitcoin. Some people are even looking at 38K, which is really a key level. I've been peeking it out as well, but there are some news articles coming out talking about the chance of a 40K Bitcoin. Well, let me tell you, it is possible, but I want to walk you through what we're seeing in the charts right now, what I expect to see ahead, and whether or not you should be buying right now. This is a question everybody's laying out. We're going to discuss this and some of the big stories today. To just take the temperature of the market, yesterday was a holiday. The markets were closed. Today, the markets opened back up. Bitcoin has just kind of been hanging steady around the $43,000 price level after a retracement, a sell the news event, if you will, from the spot Bitcoin ETF. So today I want to talk about some recent changes I've seen in the market, what the sentiment is right now, and what we can expect ahead. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I am Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report. We're doing 5 videos every day, 3 long videos, 2 shorts for you guys every day, live streams Monday through Friday to keep you guys up to date with the latest and greatest in crypto. If you're new to crypto, I believe you're in the right place. If you're experienced to crypto, I also believe you're in the right place. I want to bridge the gap for everybody here, whether you're new to crypto altogether or new to a particular chain, and just digging into some research with us alongside here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm learning new things every day. And so what I urge you guys to do is throughout the stream, do me a favor. First of all, hit that like button. Second of all, the most important thing you can do, in my opinion, is put a comment down in the live chat below. Let's have a dialogue throughout the stream. That is the most fun part about live streaming for me. Well, let's get into it, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, actually. Waldo, Shy Sox fan, good to see you. Shy Sox, I bet you're freezing in Chicago today. I saw a tweet, actually, from Altcoin Daily talking about the weather in Chicago. Unbelievable what's going on right now. It's like -9. Crazy times, guys. We are in winter here in the Midwest, that's for sure. And that's all I'll give you on my location. Midwest guy. But let's get into the market. So Bitcoin at $43,000 today. 43,100 actually getting another little move up. We've had the market open for a little bit here, so nothing crazy is going on yet. Clinton, good to see you in the chat. Thanks for chiming in there. Bitcoin dominance is down below 50% today, which is very interesting. We've seen some people calling for an increase in Bitcoin dominance. Well, we had a little sell the news event, so no shock here. It's not over for Bitcoin yet. Just wait, guys. When we get into the parabolic moment for this crypto asset class, Bitcoin could hit 59% dominance. You never know, guys. A lot of people say, oh, Bitcoin, not great gains on Bitcoin. There's not as good of gains on some of these low cap gems that you find. But if you're looking to make a safer play, a lot of people, let's say you're in the traditional market, right? Maybe you don't want to do some individual stock picks because that's risky. Think of that like altcoins. S&P 500, however, it's a little safer. Buying Bitcoin's like buying the S&P 500 of Bitcoin. That's how it plays out. And at one point, you're going to see Bitcoin kind of lead the charge. Ethereum will catch up. Altcoins will rally. Recently, we saw a nice spike out of Ethereum. If Ethereum continues to break out, we might see a little bit of an altcoin season, which you can get some really big gains from. We've already gotten some really nice gains from some altcoins recently. We talked a lot about BRC20 plays recently. What are BRC20? These are tokens built on Bitcoin. I've been coming out with some content for you guys on that. I hope you enjoyed it. VVS Finance in the chat says, Crow is dead. Crow's not dead. If you actually look at the cumulative volume on the Kronos chain, it's doing decently well, but on the total value locked up, we're down a little bit. At the end of the day, we're just starting to see DeFi start to pick up. It's trending in the right direction. Kronos is about to have yet another upgrade to the ZK EVM chain, which is going to be very good, just improving more things that they're bringing to the table for Kronos. We've got a bull market coming. Crypto.com's brand name is in-house. Crow isn't dead. Crow is not dead. But people think it is, which makes me think it's even more so of a buying opportunity than the past. Another buying opportunity that I want to make you aware of is BRC20s. Like I was just saying, notice what's changed here. These have been the hot categories that you've seen for a while. Gaming's been up there. Solana's been up there. Inscriptions are now up there. And DPIN, which I don't even know what DPIN is, but inscriptions, this could be Bitcoin inscriptions. It's actually tweeted. It is mostly Bitcoin inscriptions. So they changed it because the truth is it's not just BRC20 tokens. Now we've got SRC20 and we've got ARC20, which is atomic projects built on Bitcoin. These are inscriptions on individual Satoshis on Bitcoin. Ordi's a meme token. Sats is a meme token. These are all built on Bitcoin. Pretty much everything I'm looking at on here is built on Bitcoin. And there's going to be a lot of huge gainers in here. I do believe you're going to find 20, 50, 100x plays in here. The lower down you go on the list, the more likely you are to get some big gains. But there's also some really bad memes in here, like meme, for example, which may or may not do anything. I'm not trying to invest in those. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find utility tokens. Like .com is another place for people to buy and sell and trade, and I think they have their own wallet coming out. They're going to be doing a lot with actual utility for BRC20 tokens and the Bitcoin network. So could be big. Just looking at new opportunities here as Bitcoin's cooled off and you're looking to buy the dip. Is it a good time to buy this dip? Is this a good dip? Well, Bitcoin's down 7.48% over the last 7 days. And to be honest with you guys, you know, this is just the beginning. You know, the Block, which is an all right publication, you know, just media in general. Not the biggest fan of the we're bang again. Here we go. You know, the Block, you know, I don't know. But interesting headline. The launch of the spot Bitcoin ETF is just the beginning. It really is, guys. Yesterday we were talking about how BlackRock now owns
Trading
like
is one of those
11,000 Bitcoin or
professions
something like
that has
They're the
lots of
top 15
terminology,
holders for Bitcoin.
and
One
of
day
course,
they might even be
comes with a
the
steep
next
learning
biggest
curve.
holder next to Satoshi
But hopefully,
Nakamoto.
by the
It's gonna
time
be a
you're
very
done
big
with this
story.
course, you're going to know everything that you need to be aware of when it comes to using the hybrid system. Now, you hear me talking a lot about a number of things like the moving averages, vector candles, ADRs, pivot points. By the time you're done with this course, you're going to have a thorough understanding about each of these indicators that make up the hybrid system. You'll learn how to plot your own psychological levels. You'll understand why pivot levels are very important and they're used worldwide by traders, even banks. But more importantly, when you're done with this course, you'll have more confidence in understanding why price is moving towards one zone, whether it be an ADR, an average weekly range, or the range daily high, or a psychological level. The main goal is to get you to understand the tools you're using. So let's have a conversation.
Good morning, folks. We're going to hit a key aspect of the sunspot cycle, a galactic outburst 13 million light years away, and one of the slices of the mechanistic action for how the sun impacts polar dynamics. We've got some announcements as well, and we're starting with the last 24 hours on our star. The calm continues. Sunspots remain, most of the filaments remain as well. We are all quiet geomagnetically and in terms of eruptive events from the sun. I'm closely monitoring the big plasma filaments on the north and the magnetic development of the active regions. Sunspots still contain large umbral cores, but without enough peripheral development to have high flare potential. Good reminder that sunspots do not always easily correlate with flaring or geomagnetic conditions. Speaking of which,
Bitcoin's price exploded up to almost $50,000. There was a lot of hope in the market. The ETF was just approved. There was buzz internationally, all around the world. Everyone was talking about it. Bitcoin was going to explode. But then Bitcoin started to pull back. And then we have this candle right here, which nobody is talking about. There's a lot of theories as to what is about to happen next, but make no mistake, this candle right here has significant power. The power to completely send shockwaves all around the world again, but nobody is talking about it. We're going to be talking about this candle right here, because if it prints exactly as it looks right here, watch out. It's going to get crazy. We're about to break it down. Everybody is jumping in to unlock one of the top trades of 2024. Do not be left behind. This is your opportunity to make a large amount of money in 2024. The clock is ticking. Time is almost up. Go to cryptocrewuniversity.com. Again, that's cryptocrewuniversity.com. Clock is ticking. If you're new here, my name is Steve. On this channel, we take no paid ads, no paid sponsorships. What do we do instead? We talk about facts and the charts that actually help people. The only thing I ask in return is that you hit the subscribe button. Let's jump into the video. We're on Bitcoin US dollar index. We're on the monthly chart, and what we have not discussed in any video is this candle right here. And this candle is incredibly serious. One of the most serious candles with the highest impact that we have seen in many months. Some of the other candles that we have printed have been a little bit powerful and given us some clues. This one is significantly more powerful than any candle we have recently printed, and this one has huge muscle behind it. You do not want to play with this candle. Let's go back in time so we can better understand this candle. We're going to go back to the glory days of 2019. And for the OGs that have been following my channel for a long time, we printed this little guy back in June of 2019, and we covered it right here on this channel with many videos. This was not a fun candle to play with. It is a very similar candle to this one. You can see how this one is lining up. And if you know what this candle is and you know what it represents, you already know how significant this could be. This could be an absolute devastation to the market. But luckily for us, this hasn't printed yet. We still have some weeks to go, but I need to cover exactly what you need to know about this candle and how it could play a huge role in quarter one or quarter two of 2024. So if we go back to the old days, right? We were at the bottom of the market. Sound familiar? In 2018, right? We saw the bottom of the market and we started to move into a tremendous rally. This was phase one of the bull. The market was on fire, rallying from 3,000 up to 4,000, up to 5,000, up to 6,000, up to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. By the time it got to 7, 8, 9,000, the market was on fire. It was international headlines in any country around the world. You had Grandma Betty calling you. People were going crazy crazy. They predicted 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. Some people even predicted 100,000, 200,000. There was hope everywhere in the market and people were going crazy. The problem is we printed one of the most deadly candles and that put a stop to it real quick. We were going 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. The news articles were more and more. The buzz around social media was even more. It was going crazy. The market had exploded up to 11,000, 12,000, 13,000, and getting as high as 14,000. But when it did, we printed this candle here. Do you know what it is yet? Do you know what it represents? We covered it right here on the channel. Back here, what is this? More than 4 years ago, right? We covered this exact candle. Now, this is a gravestone doji candle. By definition, what you want to see in a textbook gravestone doji is a very long upper wick or upper shadow, a small narrow body, and a tiny wick at the bottom or no wick at the bottom. You want the open and close to be very, very narrow on the candle. And what you want to see is a long upper wick, right? Anytime you see a long upper wick, even if it's not a textbook gravestone doji, these are remarkably powerful. It tells you a couple things about the market. Number one, it tells you that there was heavy profit taking from smart money, right? The people that have their big boy pants on. Again, you are playing a game here. You are playing a game. This is a game for professionals. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. Right? If you wanted to suddenly just jump in and play professional sports, you would get destroyed. That's why the high majority of people get destroyed in trading. They think, oh, that sounds cool. I can make a lot of money. This is a big boy game. You got to get your big boy pants on. You got to study relentlessly. You have to get a strategy. You have to control your emotion and you have to stick to your strategy no matter what. That's why 95% of people will fail in crypto. They don't know what they're doing. They think they can be suddenly a professional. Are you kidding me? So here's where the professionals play. They see something like this. They're taking profits up here, hence the wick. This is profit taking heavy from heavy hitters, people who know the game, people who have played the game for decades, right? This is profit taking. So this profit taking candle, we had to open and close way down here, but we had the low here and the high way up here, which means the profit taking pushed price action way down. Anytime you see a large wick on the upside, it tells us that we have momentum to the downside. Anytime you see large wicks on the downside, look at this candle a couple candles later, large wick on the downside, boom, we had momentum to the upside. And then boom, this large wick here, momentum to the downside. I mean, you look anywhere on the charts and you can see that, look at this wick right here. We had a huge correction down to here and this was bought up by smart money, people who have their big boy pants on, again, that are not drinking the herd juice. This was bought up in a heavy way, pushed price action from down here around 6,000 all the way up to almost 12,000. That was a quick double in price. Why? Huge wick, right? Again, huge wick here. What does that tell us? Momentum to the upside. Whenever you see large wicks on the upside, it tells us momentum to the downside. This is a simple game if you let it be, but this, make no mistake, is a game of professionals. You have to learn what the professionals are using and then do what they do. What usually happens is people have no idea what the professionals are doing. They listen to news and all the idiots on social media and then they get destroyed and they're like, oh my God, it's that person's fault. I listened to them. No, it's your fault for not educating yourself with what the professionals are doing. If you wanted to go into professional sports, are you going to learn from the idiots on social media? Or are you going to learn from somebody who played professional sports and they will tell you how the game is played? Which one are you going to do? It sounds obvious when I say it like that, but you get into trading, you're like, oh, I can get rich doing this. People are getting rich. No, the professionals are getting rich and all the idiots are losing all their money, basically handing over the money to the professional people. It's a very simple game. So we have this candle. It's a deadly candle. Let's go back to where we're at today, right? You can see what's happening before your eyes. This, my friends, is almost a textbook gravestone doji candle preparing before our eyes. Luckily for us, we still have a couple weeks before this candle prints. But make no mistake, if we print between the prices, again, I'm going to tell you the prices. If we print or close the candle at the end of the month with these kind of prices, we're in trouble. For example, if Bitcoin were to close at where it's at now, around 42K or anywhere close to that, right? We're in deep, deep trouble, right? 42.3, 42.4, 42.5, anywhere right in here to print a textbook gravestone doji candle. It tells us one thing and one thing only: trend reversal. Meaning this trend that we've just had, it's going to reverse. Plain and simple. That's if we close. And I have to make this clear. Even if I say it 20 times, there'll still be people in the comments that are like, we just printed it. No, we have not printed it. It will print at the end of the month. This is not a candle that has printed. This one is a candle that has printed. We covered it 4 years ago on the channel. This one has not. But make no mistake, if this candle prints the way it is, we will have a heavy reaction and a reversal of trend. And then people will probably blame it on some Elon Musk tweet. They'll probably blame it on the ETF. They'll probably blame it on whatever they're going to blame it on. Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news, right? Plain and simple. So I wanted to point this out because nobody's going to talk about this type of candle. Just like when I covered it back here, nobody was talking about this. Everyone was talking about going significantly higher. So we've got to talk about what's true in the charts, not what the herd is anticipating. So I wanted to bring this candle to your attention. By definition, a large upper wick. You want the wick to be at least 4 times the size of the body. You want the body to be narrow. You don't want, if Bitcoin closed up around 45, we don't have a gravestone doji. We have a large upper wick, but not a gravestone doji, right? So you want to see a narrow body. You want to see little to no lower wick and a large upper wick. And that, by definition, is the gravestone doji. By the way, we're discussing this candle, right? The significance of this candle, the importance of this candle. This candle caught the world by surprise. The ETF was approved. We went sky high in price. People were going crazy. And then suddenly there was a rejection from this fib level that caught everybody by surprise and confused the world. And they're wondering what has happened. Is this crash going to continue? How is this going to play a role? It surprised a lot of people. However, we like to focus on the facts and the charts. We like to prepare people with the facts so they can make better decisions and make more money in the future. So 2 months ago, we made this video about this exact chart. We were way down here in price, and this is what we had to say. Roll the clip. It's likely that Bitcoin is going to have a rally over the next couple months up to this 0.78, and it's highly likely that we're going to be met with resistance at this level. Again, 2019, 25% of a correction. In 2015, it was a 40% correction. So it's a very good place to take profits. It's also based on the Fibonacci sequence. Men lie, women lie, the charts don't lie. So you see, what happened is Bitcoin rallied all the way up, surprising everyone and getting rejected at exactly the same level that we had been rejected at every single cycle, to the surprise of nobody in this community. But the herd was surprised. Everybody was surprised, but we were not. We had planned for it. People who got really greedy took profits right here, just like I said 2 months ago. Right? So what are we looking at in terms of a crash and this continuing? I'll tell you what, if we print anywhere near the candle that we've got now, we're in trouble. Mark my words. But again, we know where that trouble is going to lead us, because this community, we have been preparing for that move as well. And if you're new, you better hit that subscribe button, because you do not want to miss this next move in crypto. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right back here in the next video. Everybody is jumping in to unlock one of the top trades of 2024. Do not be left behind. This
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Linux Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video on Bitcoin. Your daily update. I mean, technically the situation is kind of the same as yesterday, but there are some differences, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I mean, overall, yesterday we did get some big volatility when the US opened back up after a long weekend. So you could see that right here. We had some volatility. followed up by a very quick recovery and even trying to get some sort of a bullish breakout above 43,250. Which we did break above, but it was more of a fake out. And in general, the best thing to do is to look at the 4-hour time frame. And there you can also see, I mean, the main resistance level right now is just very clear. It's around 43,200 and 43,300. A strong technical level, 200 EMA. There are multiple EMAs in there. You also have the 236 fib of the entire move down. So that's a very strong level. And that, if we want to see some bullish momentum, that's the level to break. All right, so I just wanted to give you my thoughts on whether I think it's most likely that that's going to break. I think that's what I said yesterday, and I still stand by that. All right, if I would have to give you my thoughts on whether it's more likely to get a bullish breakout or a bearish breakout, I would say a bullish breakout. I still think, even though the markets evidently right now are not as good as they were before, I still think fundamentally they're bullish. And if you look at Bitcoin, I mean, the volume is higher. It's not amazing, but it's around $24 billion. So there still very much is volume in the markets as well. So I don't say, look, and I said this yesterday as well, right now it's purely technically, it could go both ways. All right, purely technically, we could have a major bearish breakout here below 42,000 and crash down much lower towards 40,000. But you have to make a choice. When analyzing Bitcoin, you have to have some sort of a bias. And right now, my fundamental bias, even though, like I said, the circumstances in the market are not amazing, at the same point, Bitcoin dominance is at a, well, not an all-time low, but it is the lowest it's been since this whole bull run started for Bitcoin, which means something, all right? At least relative strength for Bitcoin. And usually when it goes up, the Bitcoin dominance, it's because Bitcoin is going up and not because altcoins are dropping down lower. We've seen that bearish momentum. And then apart from that, technically, we're also testing that resistance level much more in my eyes. We have bullish and bearish volatility, but we were pretty damn close to getting a bullish breakout yesterday. So that, in combination that we're not falling that quick right now, I would say technically we're also leaning towards the bullish side of the spectrum. And that's why I'm telling you, I think it's most likely that we can get some sort of a bullish breakout. But then again, I mean, my price target would be 44,400, 44,600. So it's not that I expect a huge bull run. I mean, at that level, we'll see again, because more bullish momentum is a possibility, but it's not what I expect for now. What I expect for now is still kind of choppy market circumstances, not a lot of movement, altcoins being slaughtered at times, and on the short term, a bit of recovery, a bit of bullish momentum. That's what I expect. All right. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say for now. I think so. If you do have any questions, of course, let me know. Don't forget to check out my premium and signal group. Links to that will be down in the description or the pinned comment, but that's up to you if you want to check that out. Lots to learn there, but yeah, that's up to you. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.
If you overdraw your account, Wells Fargo gives you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee.
Failure, push higher. Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has done very little since yesterday. The main support level for the current scenario, which is the idea of an unfolding wave 4, remains at $35,000. That's only support. It doesn't mean the price has to come down to 35,000. But the area between 41,800 and 35,000 is the main support area for the currently white scenario, in which the price could move quite directly to, yeah, new all-time highs, basically 100, 125K. I might put in another 1-2 setup. I mentioned that in the last few videos because I'm still thinking about how to label this move to the upside. There might be another wave, well, another 1-2 setup, and then we have another 3-4. Basically, it could then push it more clearly towards 125K, but there's no rush to deal with that. You know, this would only really impact targets in the medium term, long term. But yeah, the idea is Bitcoin is still caught in this correction. Very, very little price action today and yesterday. Bitcoin already dropped in a very direct fashion last Friday into this support area. And yeah, this could be an A, B, C structure. And that's what we are exploring on the smaller time frame. So we're going to take a look at that in a minute. Alternatively, we have the scenario of a B wave pullback, which can happen also, but it would take a break below 35K to confirm that. Below 35K, the first support is at 31,560. But if really this B wave scenario plays out, it will be likely to get at least to 27,570, maybe even 24,000. I really have a hard time to see the price get any lower. Okay, really, I don't see it that way, but it's of course possible. But I have a really hard time to see the price get down any lower. So for now, the idea is still that Bitcoin is fighting with a wave 4 support. Hasn't really moved much since Friday's drop. Some people might call it a flash crash. It wasn't really a lot, but yeah, it was for Bitcoin probably the most substantial drop since August last year. So let's take a look at the shorter time frame wave count. Okay, so now we're on the 1 hour chart here. You can see that on the 1 hour chart, really very little happened only. So the price dropped in, quite an, you could say, aggressive way on Friday, but that was it. It hit the defined support area, highlighted here in yellow, that I just showed you on the daily chart, between 41,800 and 35,000. And so far we can only see 3 waves down. That is possible. It is possible to call that already the first leg down of the wave 4 correction. But it seems like at the moment, you know, until the price gives us more, let's say, more aggressive movement to the upside, it seems like it may want to drop once more and form 5 waves down in wave A. This is sort of what I see as potentially very likely. But then again, as I said yesterday, an A wave doesn't need to be a 5-wave move. A 3-wave move is completely sufficient. So I'm open to both pathways here at the moment. But until we get a sustained break out of this flag pattern to the upside, I'm still watching for potentially another low. Yeah. So this flag pattern is obviously guiding the price right now. We might adjust the trend line here a little bit. It becomes a more parallel trend channel, but it's what you would call a bear flag. Now, if that gets too massive, also in duration, at some point we might just call it the P wave because it is then large enough and it might just carry on for a bit. Yeah. But at the moment, I can still call it a wave 4 of an unfolding A wave. That might change in the next 1 or 2 days, depending on how long it gets. And be aware that a wave 4 and a wave 2, it still should look acceptable in terms of proportion. Sometimes you see distortions in the crypto market, but at the moment, I keep that door open for one more low in wave A. In this scenario, looking at the micro count, that's the short-term bearish scenario. The market could have completed a so-called W, X, Y, X, Z correction, a very complex correction. You might label that differently. That's not so important. Just highlighting that, yeah, a corrective pattern could technically be complete here. And just watching for a potential breakdown. But it doesn't seem complete yet. Why? Because we haven't seen that rapid reaction into the other direction. So it might still extend further. We might see another push higher, failure, push higher. Okay, so just saying this might still change. But that's the short-term bearish scenario where from here, the price could form one more low to the target area between 39,314 and 40,887. In the short term, but only short-term bullish scenario, the first wave down of this larger wave 4 correction is already done. I labeled it here as a W, but it could also be an A wave with 3 waves. It doesn't really matter at the moment. Okay, so Then the next move up, and it would need to break out of this channel to the upside ideally. Then we would see a Y wave, obviously to the upside here. So WXY in an X wave, and then a Y wave down, or it would be an ABC. It doesn't matter so much. If it's an ABC, then the A wave could just be the first wave of a flat structure, and a flat structure implies that the B wave could be quite aggressive. That's what I always say. Be aware that in wave 4 corrections especially, and this is likely one, it's going to be frustrating because B waves can overshoot. So while I gave you here a standard retracement or resistance area, it's between 44,220 and 47,300. Just because I gave you that, it doesn't mean the market needs to respect it. In a B wave, while there will likely be some reactions here, B waves can choose to overshoot. And the 50K level would definitely be a likely target for an overshooting B wave. The problem is a B wave, because it's a corrective wave, it doesn't really have a target. So you can only really map out the resistances. Be aware that B waves can overshoot, but B waves don't really have targets as such, unless you really have a clear subdivision that you can use to calculate the target of the C wave within that B wave. So we just have to be a bit flexible when we're dealing with B waves. I often say B waves aren't really great to trade. They should actually be avoided. Just trading for the sake of a B wave should be avoided. But yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, and please check out the channel membership. And if you're interested in daily updates about the S&P 500, daily video updates, as well as regular updates about stocks like, for example, Nvidia or Tesla, then check out our S&P 500 and stock service. You'll find the link directly below the video. It's the Patreon link for more trading online. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Linux Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video on Bitcoin. Your daily update. I mean, technically the situation is kind of the same as yesterday, but there are some differences, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I mean, overall, I mean, yesterday we did get some big volatility when the US opened back up after a long weekend. So you could see that right here. We had some volatility. Followed up by a very quick recovery, and even trying to get some sort of a bullish breakout above 43,250, which we did break above, but it was more of a fake out. And in general, the best thing to do is to look at the 4-hour time frame. And there you can also see, I mean, the main resistance level right now is just very clear. It's around 43,200 and 43,300. A strong technical level, 200 EMA. There are multiple EMAs in there. You also have the 236 fib of the entire move down. So that's a very strong level. And that, if we want to see some bullish momentum, that's the level to break. All right. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on whether I think it's most likely that that's going to break. I think that's what I said yesterday. And I still stand by that. All right. If I would have to give you my thoughts on whether it's more likely to get a bullish breakout or a bearish breakout, I would say a bullish breakout. I still think, even though the markets evidently right now are not as good as they were before, I still think fundamentally they're bullish. And if you look at Bitcoin, I mean, the volume is higher. It's not amazing, but it's around $24 billion. So there still very much is volume in the markets as well. So I don't say, look, and I said this yesterday as well, right now it's purely technically, it could go both ways. All right, purely technically, we could have a major bearish breakout here below 42,000 and crash down much lower towards 40,000. But you have to make a choice. When analyzing Bitcoin, you have to have some sort of a bias. And right now, my fundamental bias, even though, like I said, the circumstances in the market are not amazing, at the same point, Bitcoin dominance is at a, well, not an all-time low, but it is the lowest it's been since this whole bull run started for Bitcoin. which means something, all right? At least relative strength for Bitcoin. And usually when it goes up, the Bitcoin dominance, it's because Bitcoin is going up and not because altcoins are dropping down lower. We've seen that bearish momentum. And then apart from that, technically, we're also testing that resistance level much more in my eyes. We have bullish and bearish volatility, but we were pretty damn close to getting a bullish breakout yesterday. So that, in combination that we're not falling that quick right now, I would say technically we're also leaning towards the bullish side of the spectrum. And that's why I'm telling you, I think it's most likely that we can get some sort of a bullish breakout. But then again, I mean, my price target would be 44,400, 44,600. So it's not that I expect a huge bull run. I mean, at that level, we'll see again, because more bullish momentum is a possibility, but it's not what I expect for now. What I expect for now is still kind of choppy market circumstances, not a lot of movement, altcoins being slaughtered at times, and on the short term, a bit of recovery, a bit of bullish momentum. That's what I expect, all right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say for now, I think. So if you do have any questions, of course, let me know. Don't forget to check out my premium and signal group. Links to that will be down in the description or the pinned comment, but that's up to you if you want to check that out. Lots to learn there, but yeah, that's up to you. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.
Good morning, future crypto millionaires and also soy boys, as we get into today's video looking at some Ethereum Bitcoin action, also Bitcoin dominance in total 3. And the real question is it altcoin season, I guess, is always a question, I suppose, that I do see around the old crypto sphere. So I wanted to come at today from what I think is probably the most important charts for kind of deciphering that just in general. And other than that, we'll look at a little bit of Bitcoin at the very end as well. And of course, I would like to welcome you back to the Aircrown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Wednesday morning, and let's just jump right into this one. So first things first, we'll start it off right on over here with Ethereum Bitcoin. A couple of very interesting things have actually happened on some higher term timeframes in the past 5 days now. And with the past 5-day closure, the past 5-day period, we did see the first buy signal fire off on Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, which I do believe is a pretty good representation of the general altcoin market. Maybe not all altcoins, of course, the more strong ones, especially the ones that were born in 2023, have been kind of taking the reins and being certainly the market leaders for the altcoin sector. But Ethereum Bitcoin, I do think, kind of represents the general altcoin sphere. And this is the first buy signal that we've seen here, basically since the rally that was beginning in July of 2022, where Ethereum Bitcoin pair from the actual buy signal to the next major high did produce about a 30% move. Before that, we've seen several of these, of which they have all actually gotten continuation from that initial signal to varying degrees. In some cases, a humongous move. In some cases, not that interesting. I mean, this one over here is not super interesting, although that is still nearly a 20% move to the upside. So in this case, we are in the first period after confirmation of this, which, if we were to look at that and kind of just take, 20% as a bit of a low end, or, presumably a low end, that would actually put Ethereum Bitcoin pair back around 7 million Satoshis, even if it was just 15% move, which I think is still kind of pretty decent. That would put Ethereum Bitcoin pair at about 6.8 million Satoshis. And again, that would be, I believe the weakest ones that we've seen. All major runs have actually been preceded by this particular setup right here. And this is also not just going to be relevant for the 5-day time frame, but if we go ahead and reference the prime oscillator, which I actually almost never speak about on this channel, just because I like my tools better, but I do believe that there's something new going on right here, as we do see a change in behavior from the highs put in from May of 2021, which is where I believe Ethereum Bitcoin pair first got into this, major distributive region. And then again, connected with this area right here. In fact, I'll actually just put in some vertical lines. So we'll go on this one right here, boom, that high, and then this one right here, and then connected with this high right here. We did see divergence on all of these particular signals with this oscillator, but with this past 5-day period, we have actually seen an official change of behavior from this perspective. So I do look at that as relevant. This is obviously on a weekly time frame actually. So sorry, I should say weekly period. This one was a 5-day time frame right here. And so that does warrant, I think, major consideration for Ethereum Bitcoin to reference the thumbnail, the nice little clickbait thumbnail of this video as indicative of a major probably macro bottom. I do think that Ethereum Bitcoin pair is probably done going to the downside. Doesn't mean that it can't, play at some short-term downside moves. Definitely possible. In fact, in some cases, maybe even probable, as we'll go over soon enough. But in the long term, it does look like Ethereum Bitcoin, I shouldn't say just Ethereum, is bottoming out here versus Bitcoin. And of course, right here on the weekly time frame, just kind of referencing what we spoke about in yesterday's live stream, there are a few major things of interest. One, weekly bullish divergence in the 5-day. Also had 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence, I should also add. And on top of that, that isn't within the context of low volatility, and the weekly jewel is getting its first, major upside signal since July of 2022. Not as good of this particular signal over here is actually going to be considered better than that July 2022 one, and I'm trying to find something that's comparable to what we're seeing right now. And actually, I guess the most comparable one would be January of 2020. Let's see what happened during that time. I think kind of got the reversal from this particular segment. Where is it? There we go. Yeah, it actually got the reversal off the lows on the weekly higher low. And since then, Ethereum's never actually gone lower. So in this case right here, weekly jewel, getting that upside signature supported by DMI, and also bouncing off the slower moving oscillator, all within a low volatility environment. Yes, this first move somewhere around that green 55 exponential moving average probably does get pushed back. Might even come back down and retest 5.7 million satoshis. But ultimately, I'd feel very... I think you can generally say that if you've very likely seen the Ethereum Bitcoin bottom, and the invalidation for this would be with the weekly closure, or even a 5-day closure below 5.7 million satoshis. Below there, okay, this is all wrong, and Ethereum Bitcoin, is probably going to come back down and retest lows, maybe make new lows. But until that happens, I do believe that a little bit of basing right here, maybe a bit of a short-term pullback is completely fine, but ultimately this one does travel upwards and onwards from this particular region. Also on the very high-term timeframes, the bi-monthly timeframe right here, we do see hidden bullish divergence potential.
After 17 years of making money in the markets with the squeeze and testing and refining it, I want to introduce you.
Let's go within $2 of its all-time closing high. So that's an absolute rocket ship, as well as NVIDIA. So both those names got to be on watch today. We'll talk a little bit Apple and Tesla. But it's hump day because it's a holiday shortened week. But it just feels, again, I know we just had the numbers and the market rolled over a little bit there. Just feels, again, like things are still a little bit heavy.
I just wrote down Rivian downgraded and breaking down yuck and more yuck. I mean, this feels like the market. I mean, we talked about this. Neil started it off with this China news, and I think it is pretty sad. Like, this is FXI. If you're watching the market recap show, we talked about this breaking that $25 mark and what a great short it's been since it lost that support. I mean, it's been boom straight down there to that downside. And if you're looking for relative strength, this is not the place. Down 3% today for a major ETF. That's pretty bad. And there's going to be other names that are going to be on my watch as well today. We really nailed Baba yesterday to the short side. We'll try to do it again here. As look at this stock. It's just since September. I mean, you were almost 100. Well, you were $100 in July, all the way down to $67 now, with 30% haircut. It's kind of like my haircut. All in just 5-6 months. Like it's really become a problem for some of these Chinese names. NIO, Li Auto, Xpeng. I mean, all of them. The safest name in the bunch here, as we've talked about it, Li, down 5. Xpeng yesterday was some sort of a flying car. That's down through $10. I mean, some of these names just continue to get worse and worse. Wow, that's down 8%. Do I have that even right? That's crazy. Yep. Whoa, Rivian's at 17 now. Okay, I wrote down. Yeah, it's close. It's close to getting through here right now. I wrote down that the support is at 15, which is obvious. So, You know, maybe Rivian's a buy down there. At this point, I don't know. And then the biggest and the baddest of them all continues to make moves downside. At least yesterday, we had this bottom for Tesla that potentially, and again, I'll have to clean up the chart, but potentially will hold down here at 212. So we'll look for a bleed down into that area. But yes, sir, it's a hump day. We're ready to rock and roll here right now. AMD, yeah, just breaking through 160 right now. Downside, Apple's going to probably test that 180 if the market keeps doing this. So yes, I see what you say there, the BG Music Matrix. This is funny. Let me just see what this guy here says, or she says here. It's not even that funny. I like when English doesn't really make sense. Like this is great. Like, China sink down. I like that.
Boom.
China sink down. Yes, sir.
Yes.
The BG Music Matrix there, dropping some bars there. China sink down, boys, and USA sink down now too.
Yeah, China not good. I mean, it wasn't a terrible number. Shout out to Frank. We were talking about it yesterday afternoon. If you were with us, GDP comes out 0.1% on the wrong side of things, and we get a huge sell-off overnight in the Asian markets right across the board. And then, as the guys were saying, they're yeah, ADR is looking a little ugly to start things off again. I wanted to mention this, TDOC downside as well. Not a lot of volume behind this so far this morning, but we're down here right now on that chart. It's tough to see, but a decent gap. On a downgrade, there was also this, I was reading this morning, 8.5% increase in the short percent since the last report. So 20.39 million shares sold short, which is 14% now of the overall float. So the short's winning the past couple of days anyways.
Yeah, it's been anemic growth for Teladoc the past couple of years, guys. Yeah, D.A. Davidson having its say today on Teladoc, reducing it from a buy to neutral, cutting the price target to 22 from 33, says the organic growth in the firm has slowed from the pandemic era boost that it got. Listen to this, Brendo. It grew 69% in Q1 of 2021. It grew 8% in Q3 of 2023. So, I mean, just we're talking about night and day difference here. 5 of 27 brokerages have this as a buy, with 22 in a hold.
I mean, at some point, I think the technology is sound, but yeah, as we were saying, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row downside now, guys, for TDOC, 3%.
This is, I want to say this is the third time this year, which is only a couple of weeks, but already the third time, at least in the last 3 weeks, if not this year, that I've seen a stock that has rallied to its 200 period moving average, turn around, and then right when it's on the cusp of making that sort of next move down, which would be the 50 period here, you get a bunch of downgrades on it. It's interesting timing, because if you were shorting the stock, like what more opportune time than when it got up into, or selling the stock, what more opportune time than when it got to that 200 period. That said, Teladoc, it's not the greatest trading vehicle when it's not squeezing, but you can see this range here. It's about 20 bucks up into that 22.5 where it failed. The 200 period does sit at 19.20, which is halfway. I mean, it's pretty much in the middle of that range. I suppose it would need more of a pop. Anytime I see things like this, double bottom at 20, gap underneath 20, I just think if you're looking for a trade on something with light volume at the open, maybe it does some kind of a weird spike into the $20 level, and then you can short off that. I think the next shoe to drop is it failing the 50 period moving average, and then you'd have a chance to retest some of those lows. But the trend is pretty unbroken here. Like, there are lots of names that got off the bottom and I would say broke the trend. This looked like it was going to do so and then failed when it got to the more obvious. And we talk about support turning into resistance. I mean, that's just a gorgeous example of it there. Gorgeous if you're shorting it on Teladoc. I think at some point, you know, like anything, like the business itself and the technology, there's definitely something there. But yeah, it's a tough road right now in this environment when you're not making money, and you know you're not turning a profit at this point. People start to have issues valuing the business, especially with rates potentially a little bit higher longer than people expected. I mean, the Fed fund rate tool for March, you've been essentially drifting down. It was almost as high as 80%, and now starting to drift, and the expectation for cuts is not dwindling, it's just being checked a little bit, and that's putting some pressure on stocks like these, which I don't see any real reason why it wouldn't continue just yet.
So yeah, no, another name that's very, very similar to that, and it hasn't even gotten downgraded yet. Imagine when it does. I'm just gonna say congratulations to everybody. I don't know. Let's just do bear. And I was just messaging a few people that have messaged me about this Affirm call. You know, we shorted this thing. We talked about it at 50 bucks, and I was like, this thing's going to have a 3 handle on it, and it didn't take too long. 2 weeks down 20% plus. Right now for Affirm. So there it goes, man. There's the 3 handle. So congratulations to everybody on this one. I didn't even add this to the sticky note. It's breaking through 40 bucks, and it's see you later. I mean, we knew this stock was going to make a move like this, but the thing is that this is why we said a 3 handle. You have that 40. Oh man, Affirm was so high at one point. You have this $40 level right here. So let's just wait to see. Obviously, with the market moving down, I think. That if you're short up here, the best thing to do right now would be we win. We win. That's it. It's over. We won. We got the 3 handle in 10 trading days. You made 20%. If you played it with options, you're up a hell of a lot more than that, I would imagine. So I would just say you take something out here, you know, because of this little level there. But if this market continues to bleed, you probably get 38 today anyways. So, you know, put some bids down here. Definitely try to take a bid maybe off the open, but we'll wait to see what happens here with Affirm. My only thing is if the market rallies from this point, Affirm could go to 42-ish, and then you're giving up like 5-10%. So let's wait to see what happens here with AFRM. But hey, there it is, man. Congratulations to everybody. Affirm did it.
Just checking on the call time here for Charles Schwab. I actually don't see it. Charles Schwab, though, beating. Profit dropped, but costly, reporting some higher costs. But anyways, it is down right now, but I just saw some volume come in there through 63 maybe to the downside. So I was just checking on the timing for that. We're going to talk about Netflix. There are a few that are higher as well. I mean, you were mentioning Disney also. On that note about the board and some directors. I mean, Netflix even back to basically flat here, but positive note from Bank of America here for NFLX.
Yes, sir. A couple of positive notes today, Brendo, on Netflix. Good look. KeyBank Capital having their say. Analyst Justin Patterson maintaining the overweight rating and pushing up the price target to $545 from $525. Netflix, one of the only kind of big tech names that's up about half a point at the moment here, Brendo. Netflix, they're basically saying they're likely to guide $9.1 billion of revenue in the first quarter, so that's a good look for them.
Yeah, holding up nicely. $500 obviously on the daily chart. The obvious number, we are far away from that right now, but dead center of the range here, guys. A little bit of relative strength anyway.
I mean, if you're green, you're relatively strong today.
Look at that in a while.
So that's it's not saying much when you're up 0.5%, and that's what we're going to go for relative strength. But
Every 60 seconds, someone is involved in a car accident.
Look at Disney and Funware, I see, is trading lower today.
Offering.
Yes.
It was. I think it was right at about. Actually, you know what? I think we literally finished the show. Well, the market closed at 4. The show's not over till 4:30-ish. But it was about 4:05 or
right
something
here,
when they dropped an offering on Funware. This is why we talk about things like that being a trade. Funware is a trade. It's a penny stock for a reason. I mean, I would argue DWAC the same thing, but Funware is probably a more extreme sense. And it's right back.
Well, I mean, none of these companies make money. Like, I don't even know what the product is. You know, like you gotta be careful with a lot of this stuff. They'll be back.
Well,
like, definitely watch Funware because it's a Donald Trump play, right? We just had Iowa. Like, there's so much more to come here, and then we'll see where we go with DWAC and Funware. But
off to the field of dreams for Funware.
I don't think you should ever hold anything overnight in this space.
Oh, penny stocks?
In this space, because...
Oh, you're talking about the...
Yeah, I'm talking about the election stuff. Like, get involved with DWAC when it's moving. Get involved with Funware when it's moving. Like right now, get involved. Like you take your money or loss from yesterday, and now you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, maybe now there's a buy. But you can't be stuck up here at 40 cents and it's down to 15. It's just a nightmare.
Well, I mean the 10 cents, 12 cents, 14 cents. I wanted to quickly just because
it was still up from where it was at the beginning of yesterday.
Well, right? If you took the early breakout, you're still up on Funware, although that's nonsense. I mean, you had a 3x, and if you didn't take it,
right?
Like that's kind of nonsensical. But
Spotify.
You said something about travel that I just wanted to point this out on Airbnb.
Jeez.
Airbnb has been, a lot of stocks have rallied, but on the daily chart here, you just now are breaking down it's not a great looking trend line, but if you look at the bottom here at 114, you bounced off it once here at 130. You also bounced the 50 period on the daily. You're now gapping underneath that. So 134 is going to be pretty key for Airbnb here today. I mean, a close above that looks pretty good to hold the trend. A close under would be the first close underneath that trend line since it made that bottom. And I think you could retest the 200 period. There's so many stocks that look like this. They're at like key reversal spots from some upward trends. And Airbnb in the travel space is just another one.
All right, it's worth mentioning here, a few people were discussing this Spirit Airlines again this morning, trying to get back to the upside right now, back to $7. But the volatility and the craziness that we saw late in the day yesterday, don't expect that again. The news is out. The market has digested that, and now we're kind of stuck in this range. But it's going to be more about, if you missed it yesterday, this federal judge comes out and blocks the deal with JetBlue. It's going to be more about where should this thing now be trading if this deal is not going to go through, not necessarily about anything that's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, you and I talking off camera about what the proposed buyout price was. It was a cool $3.8 billion that JetBlue was offering Spirit Airlines. Now Spirit's market cap is about $1.66 billion, so a significant haircut there. The federal judge who blocked this yesterday, guys, said the deal would drive up fares for price-sensitive consumers by taking the discount carrier off the market. According to his evidence, that would have been a price increase on the majority of tickets, and he didn't want that. He says too many people are relying on this airline for the cost savings to be just wiped away, Brendo.
Yeah, it's a shame, obviously, with the move downside yesterday. But again, going to be more about where should this be trading now versus what could happen today.
Well, what could happen for them and where it should be trading. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you where a stock should be trading in this particular sense, but I'll tell you that they could be talking about bankruptcy. It is a little chilly in here in Canada and in this office.
In Canada, yeah.
Although it was Celsius, it was -23 with the wind chill this morning, which is pretty darn cold. Like that's basically like the weather in KC for that game.
Canada's not. I mean, you saw Buffalo. Buffalo, they couldn't even get the game through, and here the weather was gorgeous. It was
actually
cold.
pretty nice.
We don't get the snow like they get there for sure.
Look, if you're talking about the thing about
gloves are on, baby.
there's a 0% chance you can trade in those gloves.
I am not. No, I can't even. I mean, I can switch.
Look, the funny thing about it is
I can't type anything. I was looking at.
I wouldn't even bet you because like that would you basically be guaranteed. Oh, thank you, Rob. You'd be guaranteed to make a keystroke error with gloves like that.
Oh no, you can't.
There's no chance. Like those are.
The problem is, the thing is, I'd have to. I don't hit any keys that are one key, so I'd have to hit enter. So I'd have to basically make 2 keystrokes.
Well, all you need is you get a coffee heater, Then thanks to Rob, I got a fresh coffee here. Thank you, Rob. And then I put on the heater and I warm my hands that way. But the only way Spirit is warming up is if someone comes in to save them because they got to find another deal.
Yeah.
The talk is they could be looking at bankruptcy if they don't find another deal. Pioneer apparently might be interested. So when I hear that, anything you trade on Spirit Airlines today, you got to have a stop. In my opinion, anyways, because if Pioneer, so if someone says, hey, we'll take a shot at them, they could spike up. If Pioneer or someone else comes out saying there's no interest whatsoever, the stock could halt down and everything in between. So I just look at the obvious key levels, yesterday's top about 850. I look to where we closed into this support at about 750 into $8. Looks like a short the pop situation as well. So those two levels to look maybe short some pop, but you got to have a stop order out there. There was a long off the bottom, but that was more stock halts down 3 times. Just look for the first bounce. That's a very specific type of trade that is not at all betting on the survivability of Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. I think Spirit here is a crazy long. I mean, you're all the way down here on a broken deal. If someone was going to make this deal in the first place, they're going to do it again, and someone else is going to come in and put an offer on this thing for sure. So, like, I mean...
But if you could just wait for bankruptcy, why would you?
Yeah, no, because it's not even bankruptcy. The stock could be higher than this. I really think that you're going to find somebody coming in here and buying this thing. You know, that bottom right there, like we just talked about over and over and over again. I mean, look at the drop. This goes all the way back to 2020, right? So that's why we zoom back in here. That bottom was $8 in COVID when we were all not even allowed to walk in the streets. I'm just, you know, so now you're even below those levels. This is a crazy long. So 650, I don't know. I mean, I'll wait for it and watch it, but honestly, this is probably an optionable play back up to the upside right now. Randy, I got the gloves on, man. Thank you. All right. Now we'll see about getting in here. Cheers. Now we'll see.
Now you don't see. You can just hold. You can hold the.
Oh no, the gloves are staying on here.
That's
but
what it's all about.
Bitcoin 42.5. You see it on the bottom right now, moving around. And then a big shout out to Tisha. She wanted to talk about MIMO. I got to be a little careful here. See, I could still change the stocks up a little bit here. Nice move here, 300%. Watch out for 60 cents on here. But all right, stocks are getting upgraded and downgraded literally every day. And Adara's at the big screen.
Speaking of Bitcoin, Marathon Digital Holdings actually the first upgrade on the list today, getting an upgrade from BTIG Research. Polaris getting upgraded by Morgan Stanley. Burlington getting an upgrade from Piper Sandler. And last but not least, Futu getting an upgrade here from JP Morgan Chase. For downgrades, pretty interesting list. Morgan Stanley getting a downgrade from JP Morgan following their earnings yesterday. Rivian, the first of 2 car companies on this list, getting a downgrade from Deutsche Bank. Really interesting. They lowered the price target. First of 2 car companies on this list, getting a downgrade from Deutsche Bank. Really interesting. They lowered the price target from 29 to 19, and they also Rivian also received a price target decrease from Wells Fargo. So Rivian definitely on watch today. Teladoc getting a downgrade from D.A. Davidson, and last but not least, second car company on this list, Ford trading a bit lower after getting a downgrade from UBS, guys.
And
Ford's back to that $11 level, which was previously just monstrous on the daily. I don't know how much significance 11 is going to have this time around because it broke $10 in this recent dip. But Rivian, one of the few days that it wasn't like a focus short in terms of the EV names because of like other stuff that was also moving. But oddly enough, it made a bounce and it made things a little bit easier for today because it bounced off 17 yesterday and went right to $18. So 19 was that money spot last week because it gave you multiple days to trade off of that. Thursday and Friday were the 2 good ones, and Wednesday was not so much. It was trying to break down on Wednesday. You lose that day, then you win the next 2 days on the short. I just think 17 breaking on a flat bottom. If it pops, you're looking to short into the $18 level. But those are 2 very distinct prices and 2 very distinct types of trades. There's room down to about 15 bucks. Oh, the other thing Rivian has going, I thought I drew these. Okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But this was a stock that probably, I want to say when the trend broke to the upside here. Like I prefer when a stock makes a bottom and breaks to the 50 and the 200 period, something along those lines. if it's got an upward trend and then breaks out the top, you probably trap some longs that were looking at this trend, that top end trend line. Whether or not they've exited, like if you were long at 23, if I was structuring a trade and I had done something like that, I'd be out if it broke 19. But I'd suppose you might have some hanging on for things like 15, 16, 17 on the way down. So I think there's some stops to be triggered. 17 is just the first one we happen to be hitting. If it happens to spike here, then it could get to $18. That would just be going back to green on the day. I think you got to be very patient when the stock does make any kind of a run to the upside. But haven't really changed the tone on the EV names. The shorts until they're not, and you got to really they have to prove that they're not at this point. I'm talking about Fisker, Rivian, Lucid, I don't know, Polestar, I'll throw that one out there. Maybe not Mullen because it's so illiquid now after the reverse split, but pretty much everything else.
Yeah, Mullen, they're definitely, I mean, even, like you were saying, even Tesla there, EV space. I'm trying to fix, this got broken here.
Oh no.
My little picture she took with a Polaroid. Right, I'm just gonna have to glue it on there. That's okay.
Sales in the United States have come in higher.
So this is the thing.
That only means one thing.
I don't know what.
Well, it means that manufacturers are going to be thinking, hold on a second. Granted that business is actually slowing down, given that we had a reading yesterday of minus 46 on the Empire State Manufacturing Index. These guys are going to be like, well, hold on. If people ain't going to be buying anything or placing orders, the only next logical thing to do is just to increase our prices. Well, retail sales is up, and that's a bad thing. Why? Because now that means inflation is more than likely to go up again. What does that mean? Well, it simply means that backed with the data from the employment market, things are looking pretty good over there, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we're probably going to go back into the story of higher interest rates. But don't let me stop you there, ladies and gentlemen. Word on the street says that the UK has unexpectedly seen an increase in its inflation back to 4%. They projected 3.8. Oh, the British, man. They're so optimistic about things. They've been smacked this card right now. More importantly, you've also got the Eurozone itself, which is already contemplating the fact that they may be wrong in decreasing the interest rates, where it looks like we're going back to the interest rate drawing board. What does that mean? Good news for dollar. Bad news for assets paired against the dollar. Oh, yeah, this is my obsidian rock, by the way, because apparently cleaning or polishing glasses is not a thing to do anymore. So I might as well clean the rocks, ladies and gentlemen. Happy days. Moving on, we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to try and keep this live short and sweet because I am operating on the smallest amount of sleep according to my Whoop. I had myself 3 hours of sleep with only 51 minutes of restorative sleep. Why go bed, bro? Why did I even waste my time? It's 3 hours. I could have done something. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get with the flavor. Here we go. All right then. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you very much for passing through to today's live. You are live? Yes, I let my wife polish my rocks. What about the balls? I mean, I'm joking. Anyways, we'll park that. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? What isn't going on? Bitcoin, what are you doing? Welcome to the stable coin of 2024. Bitcoin, hodl, literally. Bitcoin right now is holding on to dear life. This 40K range seems to be a point where retail's like, well, if it's not going down, it's not going up. I'm just going to buy it. I'm just going to buy it. That's exactly what retail's doing, backed by the idea that the high block is suggesting that we have a collective of liquidation points right here around the 41,150 zone. The actual reading is around $2.5 billion worth of long liquidations in this region. Now, let's just consider something, okay? We must go back to the idea of value. Now, stick with me on this one to anybody that is new passing through. But when you trade Forex, the bigger system behind Forex is what value can I get? If I have €1 million at 1.08975, what will that get me in terms of dollars? then what can I do with the dollars? This is something that is happening for the players, or should I say the big banks, who have all these deposits and they need to put them to work. So when we go over to the euro right now, you can see euro is taking a little bit of a tumblr to the downside, but that's only on the backs of the dollar dominance continuing to the upside. You see, this is our major support zone, ladies and gentlemen. We had this locked off at the start of the year, suggesting that they were holding price. Now, dollar has appreciated from this low all the way up. We have got ourselves roughly, and this is all going to make sense with Bitcoin, we have got a 1.6% appreciation on the dollar. The purchasing power of the dollar now is 3.15%. So the purchasing power of dollar is increasing because people are removing exposure from their positions. How do we back up the idea of exposure? Well, we only need to go and look at the stock market and see how that's faring. You can see right here on this update, it does say that the confirmed uptrend has an exposure of 80 to 100%. That means there is a lot of people with high exposure right now. We go over to the NASDAQ and the S&P, and we can see that we've got ourselves a little bit of a problem. And we've got a huge imbalance zone down here that the NASDAQ will most likely come and take. You heard it here. Okay? So, we know euro is down. We know that dollar yen ain't stopping and going towards our target zone 2. Platinum members will be fully aware of that. If you held on to this trade from the day we projected it at the start of the weekend, this weekend gone, you would be sitting on a very nice it was from the Sunday. So from this point right here, you would be sitting on a 452 pip move to the upside. You would have been laughing your head off. Okay? Now, gold. It's getting ready. What's the common theme, ladies and gentlemen? What is it that you are seeing? Assets paired against the US dollar are going down. That means they're transacting in dollars. Don't even run to me about Bitcoin crypto players. They're holding on to Bitcoin and, they're not selling it. That's why it's not going down. One way or another, Bitcoin is going to follow the stock market. And whether you like to admit it or not, Bitcoin is part of Wall Street right now. I'm sorry, but decentralization, now that we've got this ETF, even better, an Ethereum ETF is going to come into play very soon. So we're going to get back onto the Ethereum bandwagon. We're going to see those wild pumps and dumps on Ethereum. But I think everyone's learnt their lesson with regards to the ETFs right now. Going into Bitcoin's ETF, you can see bright as day that we have another gap down, ladies and gentlemen. Another gap down. This thing's continuously going to the downside. I'm telling you, they're getting smacked. They're smacking this, and they're going to smack it until we then see an aggressive purchase at a point where no one would think it was going to be valid. Remember, the ETF for Bitcoin right now is being purchased behind closed doors. No one with any data is going to get access to it until they get to a point where they cannot buy privately anymore, and they're going to have to go to the open market and start placing those positions. And I personally believe that they're going to be doing it in very small amounts, enough to get people to think, oh, someone's purchased at this price point, or someone's purchased an amount of Bitcoin, and just post it on Twitter and be like, oh, look, a whale has purchased Bitcoin, 500 Bitcoin. Ooh. They'll keep on doing it. Smart ones will pay attention to it. But it's the when. When is it likely that we're going to see these guys who are buying on behalf of the authorized participants go to the open market and start picking up the Bitcoin? That's when we'll start seeing Bitcoin move up, okay? Now remember, peer-to-peer, privately negotiated transactions that are not public, we really don't know the price that they're prepared to sell at, okay? Because right now, Bitcoin's price is stuck at 42,522. Now we need to dive into the context of what's actually going on. For my day holders, my holders, what have we got? Ooh, 50 EMA compromise. But don't worry. Check this out. We have got the first ever weekly golden cross. Okay? Yeah, baby. Get ready for the move to the upside. Let's just put this into context, guys. Look at this. The golden cross has occurred on a weekly simple moving average. You've got a 200 weekly simple moving average. Volatility is not considered with a simple moving average. That's why it's simple. That's why it doesn't have any fluctuations. There's more curvature after a period of time of movement up or down. So you've got to be very careful with it, not to piss on your fires. But this is what usually happens with crosses, okay? You've got this cross right here. Now, we had the golden cross ages ago, okay? Look, you've effectively, well, we've not even had it ages ago. This is the Bitcoin weekly. I mean, the data's not even there. Let's go to just quickly go to Coinbase for a second. Let me just have a look at Coinbase. Here we go. So they ain't even printing off this 50 EMA. Like, I mean, come on, you're not really helping me out right now. All right, just let me explain something to you. Look, you see this right here, the golden cross? Now, a lot of people are seeing this thinking, yeah, baby, it's time to buy Bitcoin because there is a golden cross. Two lines have crossed over. Two laggard moving averages have crossed over. That's the way to crack the market, ladies and gentlemen, okay? If only it were so true. Look at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Well, let's just go and have a look at that bad boy. We have got deviation away from the moving average. You can't tell me that the same deviation on the moving averages on the 1 hour time frame is going to be any different to the one on the daily time frame or the weekly time frame. Right, let's just go back into Binance where we carry most of the volume. Let's just go to the daily time frame for a split second to put things into perspective. Remember, this is not me to talk down to the idea of Bitcoin ever going up. It's so that you don't be the person that is buying when Bitcoin's rising. Now, you might say, yeah, but Tina, what if it continues to go up? Well, before every move up, it's come back down. Just look at these waves that you see Bitcoin making, okay? After every move to the upside, all right, there was a move to the downside first. There's your move to the upside. It comes down aggressively. Then it moves all the way back up again. And then it comes back down again, moves all the way back up again, then comes back down again. And then what have you got? You've got this splendiferous move to the upside after a move to the downside, shift out, consolidation, trading sideways. Moving averages would give you the idea that momentum's coming into play. Why? Because they haven't invalidated any of the moving averages on the higher time frames. Happy days, so we're still in the bias to see higher prices. It comes up, consolidates sideways, climatic candle. The logic says, now that we're at the 50 EMA for the first time in a very long time, one would say that if Bitcoin does break below the 42,140, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a problem. Bitcoin's going to be cheaper. Who wouldn't be happy with that? Am I right? It's irrelevant even if I'm right or not, because the idea of value to me is going to be different to value to you. The value of Bitcoin at 42,000 might not be valuable to someone else. And that's the issue that we have with Bitcoin. How much of it is someone going to buy at a specific price point? Why is it that Bitcoin, if it cannot go below 30,000, it cannot go beyond 37, it cannot go above 50,000? These are people who are of the belief that the value of Bitcoin cannot surpass a specific point because it just won't allow it. It doesn't sit in their brains, okay? Now, it's a bit difficult to assume that, given that Bitcoin has not stopped going up. If you just zoom out, you can see that Bitcoin's made a move up and it's come back down, and where logic says we're going to see a movement to the upside, okay? What's going on here? Hold on. calls me and says, don't play with fire. What are you talking about? I asked, we are the fire. We are the Traders Reality. Join us. Mad love to you, RTB. Mad love to you, man. Thank you very much, bro. You're a good kid. You are a good kid. All right. So, thank you, man. All right. So, listen. Bitcoin's moving up. Now, the thing is, what we would like to see Bitcoin doing, okay, because there's not that much history with Bitcoin. But let me take you to a place where there is history. Look. The S&P. Anyone with a brain for the size of a grain of rice, and that's a compliment, would say that the S&P since 1998 has been going up. Tell a lie. The S&P has been going up for the past 100 years, ladies and gentlemen. In 1990, 1900, that's when this chart was done, based off, okay? The S&P hasn't stopped going up for the past 100 years and plus, okay? Don't know if you can see that bad boy. Look at this. You ain't getting this chart anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. This chart was given to me by Investors Business Daily because I was a very loyal subscriber to them. Very loyal subscriber. This chart right here is nearly 15 years old. But you would be in agreement with me that the S&P has been going up for the past 100 years and it hasn't stopped going up. Why? Because human nature is people are fearful, people are greedy. Naturally, we see a drop, we then see a continuation up. A drop, continuation. What these drops are called corrective phases. We make money here, expansion. The economy is doing great. The economy isn't doing so great. Why? Because we're contracting, we're resetting the schedule, okay? Another one, economic expansion right here. Happy days, it's moving up. Then we get this huge economic expansion, okay? Then we see a subprime mortgage, well, the subprime mortgage crisis right inside of this area right here. Okay, no, this area right here. And then we see a massive expansion to the upside in January 2016 before it consolidates sideways. And then you get another expansion to the upside right here with a sharp drop with COVID. And then you get an even more of an expansive move to the upside. For every move up in the stock market is an expansionary phase in the economy, okay? Where are we at right now? Well, we've had to increase the interest rates aggressively so that we can control this madness of inflation. But inflation is still a problem for us. Going into the data today, you can see that we've got an increase on retail sales at 0.4% and 0.6%. What does that mean? Well, it means that manufacturers are going to start increasing their prices because if they're losing business, if they don't see that business is going to be looking good, because look, they asked 300 purchasing managers, it's 200 manufacturers, sorry, and it says New York State asked which respondents to rate the relative level of general business conditions. So that means spending, hiring, investment, what does it say here? Market conditions, future economic activity, contracts, all of that stuff. They ask these guys and they say, look, man, where's your head at? And these guys say, oh, man, it's pretty shit, man. I ain't looking too good. Like, you know, I'm going to go play darts with the boys. And, you know, some of them don't even care. And that's where we get a reading of minus 43. They projected minus 4, so they anticipated a little bit of an increase. No, it didn't happen. So if the economy is starting to slow down, then it does grant the idea of them having to decrease the interest rates because it's putting pressure on the economy. Yet you've got a booming jobs market, inflation is high, and it looks like it's going to be sticky, and with the prospect of it going up even more, backed on the idea that, where is it? Here you go. UK inflation unexpectedly increased to 4%. That is a bloody problem. We're going back into when they started to increase the interest rates in the first place. But we're at 5% now. Have they acted a bit too soon? Has this moved to the upside on the S&P? Is it too good to be true? Have they priced in the idea that, okay, we might have a bit of a problem? S&P's at all-time highs, ladies and gentlemen. NASDAQ's at all-time highs. Bitcoin may be the true representation of what's actually going on because it's not at all-time highs. So now people looking at the Golden Cross are thinking, hold on a second, am I going to miss out on an opportunity on Bitcoin? No, you're not. That's my opinion. Because they're going to bring it back down. They're going to bring it back down because that's what we want to see. We want to see it get cheaper. The weekly cross right here, the Golden Cross, is a simple moving average. It doesn't factor in the volatility. The exponential moving average does. That's why you see this. Look, up and then down, sharp. Look at these creases in the moving averages, okay? And when a weekly Golden Cross happens, it encourages people to buy and makes them absorb this retrace back down because they're waiting for the Golden Cross to come into play. Just because it's happened doesn't mean it's going to maintain. Now, I will stand to be corrected. If Bitcoin can shoot up from this point and go beyond 55K, then happy days. We've had an explosive move. Awesome. Golden Cross traders have smashed it. Happy days. But historically, go and pull up all the Golden Crosses. Look at what happens on the event that it happens. It corrects, and then it proceeds to continue its move. Because you've already had, look, remember the simple moving average only started to have that curvature beforehand. Look, started from here. Price moves up, consolidates, then aggressively moves up, which has naturally led the simple moving average on the 50 to cross over the 200. When you look at this, you can see there's not been that much volatility right there. It's a very tight range. So just take that with precaution when someone mentions, even like this, like there's no discredit to CoinDesk. It's the first time on record. It's crossed over. People will see that as a bullish thing. But what people need to make sure they understand that there is a huge imbalance on the weekly time frame that they will need to try and bring it back down to regulate, okay? Always welcome the retrace because the retrace will give you the idea of the continuation back up because you know that the move back down and they hold price at this price range, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to bounce like a rabbit, okay? That's exactly what it's going to do. It's the thought process. You've always got to take that into consideration. Don't just blindly go in. We've demonstrated over the last 3 streams what happens when traders are witnessing candlesticks doing something, making them do something, because that's what these candlesticks are designed for. They're designed to get you to do something when the opposite is developing, okay? Now, let's go into the smaller time frames to break it all down. Okay, we've got a negative trading day on Bitcoin. Sad days, but true. Okay, we've got this 42,068, which is the 50 EMA. All of you holders out there, I want you to mark off these 2 price points. Okay, the first price point, set an alert at the 50 EMA right here at 42,131. Your next alert, hopefully it doesn't hit, will be at the curvature of this 50 EMA cloud, which is 40,780. Now, what I'm doing here is now I'm going to help you understand if this move to the upside is done for the short term, these 2 price points are going to be very important for us because Bitcoin can come back down into these ranges and reverse back up. Because if it can hold within the cloud, that's a good sign that there's accumulation happening just a little bit steeper in the range. Because if you look at these 2 candlesticks, one right here and one right here, it's consistent with them sweeping the liquidity, okay? So we're going to assume that that could be on the cards for Bitcoin. And it's not something that we haven't seen before. All you have to do is go and have a look at Bitcoin over here when you've seen these sweeps, sweep 1, sweep 2, sweep 3, and that led on to sweep 4, sweep 5, move up, come down, sweep 6. Now we haven't exactly had a sweep at all, okay? And that's what I'm anticipating for Bitcoin. So holders, make sure you're marking off these 2 price points. I'll mark them off for you again. So we have got the 42,143 and the 40,757, okay? So for my daily guys, just make sure you're keeping an eye on these price points. If something happens or price gets towards these points, this will be an opportunity for you to load up on Bitcoin, okay? Because if you're going to load up on the idea that this correction, okay, is going to be short-lived, because the ultimate support for Bitcoin in this whole range will be at this green vector candle zone, which sits at the 40,000. If Bitcoin cannot hold 40,000, then we're going to have ourselves a bit of a problem. It's going to correct deeper. So it takes us back to the idea of the following. Remember, 20, 20, 20, 40. Do not commit too much capital up here. You're going to get screwed. Clean, dustbin, taxi. Get on it, okay? Start small. Probe the market because you're not going to miss out on a move to the upside if it's going down. Now's an opportunity to pick it up cheaper, okay? The 40% of your investment is the safety barrier. Because if Bitcoin comes all the way down and you've loaded up 60% of the portfolio in terms of 20s and there's quite a decent distance between your positions, you might get into a situation where something good happens and Bitcoin starts to make a move up. You've then loaded up 40%, smack at the lowest possible point. Man, it retraces all the way up. You've made your money, offset the loss of any of these, and then made some money on top of it. Do not squeeze your accounts, all right? Make sure you've got capital behind you, the artillery, the ammunition, so you can just shoot. Yeah, you get what I mean. Yeah, anyways, let's get into the smaller time frames, ladies and gentlemen, and have a look at what's going on. Okay, cool. Are we good, ladies and gentlemen? We cool with that? Yeah? Are we happy? Yes, sell your nan and all of that? Yes, welcome to the Funfair Bitcoin merry-go-round. Okay, right. Jokes aside. The 200 EMA seems to be posing a bit of a problem. Now, fundamentally, when it comes to Forex, we understand that we are in what would appear to be a midweek reversal for Forex, okay? So the logic says that at this point, now do this every time you start your trading day. Do it so you understand where you are in terms of a level and a cycle, all right? So Sunday and Monday, all right, would be here. This move up effectively is Monday, okay? So this is Sunday, sorry. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. This is Wednesday. This is Thursday. And this right here is Friday. Then you've got Sunday, okay? And some of you who have been with me for a long time, mad love and respect for you. You guys will know this to be level 1, level 2, level 3, peak formation, drop level 1, level 2, level 3, peak formation. Price in principle would be following this narrative and then going all the way back down again, okay? Cool, so you get the idea of that. So where are we right now? Well, it looks like Bitcoin could be forming a structure to go lower or to go higher. But we have to understand where we are in the bigger picture because Bitcoin is following the bigger markets, all right? Yes, Bitcoin's market cap around 875 billion, all right? Take the S&P. What's the market cap there, ladies and gentlemen? Dwarfs Bitcoin. But that's just for an asset. If you've got Amazon with just itself as $1 trillion, nearly $3 trillion market cap, Bitcoin is chump change. It really is. So it doesn't require that much capital to move it. That means everyone's going to be subject to the way the market behaves. If everyone starts seeing the markets collapse today, all right, good chance Bitcoin's going to be following suit. Why isn't Bitcoin going up? Why am I witnessing green vector candles appearing over here and not going higher? There's a problem here. I need to see evidence of it going higher. I'm not getting the evidence just yet. Take the whole and half number principle. What have we got going off here? We've got the 43,000 region right here, okay? Day traders, mark this off. 43,000 right there. Above that, we've got 42,000. And below that, we've got 42,000. I can't even count. So now I've got to look at this and say to myself, behind every single move up, how aggressive is it? How soon do they come back into it? That's what you got to ask yourself. Move up, back in. Move up, back in aggressively. Move up, back in. Up, back down again. They move up, they come back down, they bring it all the way back up. No follow through. They bring it back down again, okay? Seems to me that they could be building shorts above this area, getting ready to sell off. Now, this might take a little while, but they're consolidating price in this range, right? Now, let's add weight to this. Where are we in terms of the book map? Hey, good old book map. What are they going to do first? They will always sell higher to bring it back down again. Well, the commitment's coming in on the bid side. Look, all these guys down here. These guys are waving their flags. We want to buy. Please, please, we want to buy. I ain't seen no one up here. So where's the market going to transact? It has to go somewhere. And there have been instances where it doesn't actually go down there, even though we anticipate it to go. There have been instances where they move away from this point. That, to me, is a stop run. Now, the VWAP has been tested several times. Check this out. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couldn't even touch that. Logic says another attempt to come back down to eat the liquidity. Now, let's make sense of this, all right? If the bids are all the way down there, limit buys are all the way down here, and they're in the range of 42,200, 41,500. Let's put 2 and 2 together right now. Let's go over and have a look at where we are in terms of the liquidity in front of us. Well, let's just zoom out. This is the bid and ask profile of Bitcoin. We've got some sell orders up here, and we've got some bids down here. 39,000. We've got a lovely little 20 million order amount bid at 39,000. Okay. We've also got more bids inside of here. Okay. But there is a high concentration of sell orders that could be appearing here. So what we really need to wait and see is if Bitcoin is going to try and show promise to work higher. And if it's not going to work itself higher, those sell orders can still remain. Just because they are there doesn't mean that they're going to cancel their order. They can leave it in there because, look, you've got one that's been here for 23 hours. We go up a little bit more, 22 hours. One's been there for 1 day. We go up here. That's been there for 4 days at 5 million. So even though the orders are there, doesn't necessarily mean they must take them just because they are present. That's where we then start looking into the idea of what's going on in the bigger marketplace. Dollar dominance is going up. That means people are transacting on other assets against the US dollar and selling them to hold dollars. Logic says that Bitcoin is more than likely to be following the same suit. Now, usually when we see this sort of range with Bitcoin, we would naturally assume that at some point Bitcoin's going to come back up to this vector candle, okay? That's my bigger picture. I want it to come back up to this range. But what we've got to understand is this area right here of consolidation. every time they've tried to mark price up, they brought it all the way back down again, and quite aggressively at that, okay? So that tells me that they could be getting ready to load up longs. Now, one more attempt lower to sweep the liquidity could be on the cards, ladies and gentlemen, for Bitcoin to try and come back into the range, okay? Now, if Bitcoin can come do this and then work its way back up into the range and continue, then that's a good sign. But we must be breaking above this key area right here of 43,586 to even have the bias of price going to the upside. If we can break this, then we will act accordingly. Because once we break this area here, the only logical thing that will happen afterwards is price breaks it, they retrace back into it. And the same interest of traders that came inside of this area, who assumingly have been building their positions long, are realizing a return on the liquidations of the retail trader who went short in these vector candles. They're going to want to tap that liquidity. So this little retrace right here is designed at helping them add more positions so that they can then exploit the move to the upside. Why? Because the guys who are short are thinking, oh my God, it's just a stop run. It's all right. We're going to load up a little bit more because it's now pulling back down again. Don't worry, it's a fake move up. They come back down again and then it shifts back out aggressively. It's the relationship of what you can make sense of in terms of the buying and the selling that is happening at a specific point. Remember, it's a battle between the bids and the ask. Look at this. This is the ExoCharts platform. And this is where we start looking at Bitcoin's range. Where is Bitcoin right now? Let me just move these over here to put things into perspective. Happy days. Right, cool. So this is Bitcoin's profile. For the 5-day, this is the 5-day chart. Bitcoin has now passed 9,600 VWAP at 42,762. Roll that down towards the point of control at 42,692, okay? So that's when most of the contracts are actually appearing. Now, what we need to be careful of is what's going on down here, because we do have a decent profile. Look at all these bids. You got a bid down here, 185, and that could be a spoof, okay? Which naturally, if the orders start to come down and Bitcoin starts to roll over, naturally this order is going to start creeping upwards, and whoever is watching that may be putting in a certain, have a trigger of an algorithm which is designed to try and get filled as price starts to get closer towards it and maybe fill in sooner rather than later, okay? So that's something we got to take into consideration. Down below, you got 347 on the bid side at 42,000. There you go. They've just canceled it. They've just canceled it. All right. So this is what I mean. These are things you've got to be looking for when you're trading the bid and ask profile, so that you can get an idea of who's starting to come in and who isn't, who wants to sell, who wants to buy, right? Now, because Bitcoin has broken away from the area of value, it naturally means that the next thing to happen is seek value. Okay. Now, this is a value area low, VAL. To all my ExoChart guys, you know what that is. Now, this value area low, once price breaks into it, this is where we start to see momentum pick up, where an aggressive move happens in this area. But at the same time, this area where we expect an aggressive move to occur is an area where they can reverse. Now, in the last 3 live streams that have happened in New York, each time they've marked price down, they've reversed from the value area low, okay? If you look at the daily profile, this is the 5-day profile, okay? Now, if we go into what price point that was yesterday, we just go into it at 42,047, where they initially reversed from. We look at that on the profile, 42,007. Am I correct on that? 42,047. Let's just watch this. 42,007 and 7. 47, you funny guy. 42,047 puts us inside of this range right here, okay? So that's where we are at the profile. Logic says that that's where most of the contracts started to come in on the reversal of this candlestick from yesterday's live stream in the New York session, okay? So there's 1,000 contracts right there. After that point, we don't really see 1,000 contracts anymore. It's all down 300s, 400s, 500s. So logically, one would say that there is a good chance that Bitcoin could actually break down and try and sweep all of this to try and garner interest, to get people to step in again and bid at the lowest possible point of the day's range. This is how we profile the relationship between who's prepared to buy at a lower price, who's prepared to sell at a higher price. Right now, it looks like they're probably going to do it. They're pulling off the bids. That was a nice little sweep there. This is tick chart 77. They're loading up on the offers. I'm not seeing negatives on the stacks. I'm not seeing them pulling offers, and not enough of them anyway. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to come down to that point. 331 on the offer, on the bid side, 336, 366 on the bids, back smack bang at the 42,047, okay? There's someone here in this range, if you can see it, there's someone there. There you go, popped up again, 365, that's an algorithm. They're putting it, canceling it, putting it, cancel it. As it comes down, it puts it back in again, okay? You want to pay attention to this area and watch how this order is played. Because even though it's been placed and it hasn't been filled, it's the commitment. Oh, back again. As it comes down, it tries and does it. Goes back in again. They don't want to miss out on the opportunity. We don't know what that algorithm is designed to do. May hold price at this point. They want the fill at 42,000, okay? If it goes up higher, get rid of it. Not interested. If it starts to work its way back down again, keep placing that order so that we're not missing out on opportunity on price going down towards that point and filling a bid of 331. Look, it's the same bid, 331.8. Watch it in a minute. It'll come back again. As Bitcoin comes down, it will come back in again. Come on. 473. Come on. Because remember, down below here, there's also more orders where we're not seeing them yet. Here we go, 331.7. All right? 400. So it's actually increased now. All right. So 400. There you go. 403. So it looks like bids are starting to come in the hope that they can get a nice fill at the lows. 402. Why am I paying attention to this price point and not this price point? Okay. Because right now there's a lot of activity happening here. They're working the value area low. I'm expecting them to try and sweep price lower. I've got to pay attention to where the players are going to be, where I could assume a reversal, so that I can exploit a V-shaped play for a day trade opportunity. 401, 177 at the top right there. We got 100 over here. I'm not too interested on that. 401 down there. So someone really wants to make sure that they're not going to miss out on the opportunity. This is how I effectively gauge the idea of how price can get to a point and reverse. If I'm in the value area low anyways, I'm expecting reversals to come into play, okay? But because the value area low zone, you notice where most of the contracts are in this value area. It starts right here at 1,000, at 42,045, which happens to be 42,047, where they reverse from the day before, okay? So that's where the activity is. That's where I'm seeing the bids coming in, the big bids of 402. After that, if price cannot surpass this point and hold, then there is a good chance they will sweep the liquidity and go down to try and find the same area of value. Because even though we've got someone here trying to place an order at 401 bids on the bids, okay, we don't know if that is a final order for a bigger order, or it could be the start of a bigger order, okay? This is information that we will never know unless we are the ones that have got 2,000 orders that we need to put into the market, and we're doing it in increments of 400, 200, 100. Only we will know that as the purchasers or the sellers. Right now, it's gone to 422, ladies and gentlemen. And when I'm looking at the offers, I ain't seeing that many offers coming into play. No one's really wanting to sell higher. Look, there's no profile up there. Nothing's going on, okay? So that logically says to me, look, 559, 36 is 55 is the biggest one. And you got 77 right here, so close to the price point. Go down and I've got 434 down there, 377 down, 355. Someone wants that point. They're preparing the move. Where's the offers at the top side up here? 51, 45. Nah, not interested. I'm not seeing the profile. So now when you look at this, you say to yourself, hold on a second, it seems like there's a little bit more to trading than just simple candlesticks. Of course there is, but you get the clue with the vector. You might say, of course you do. Well, this system is free of charge to use, so you can download it free of charge. You've got to try and make sense of it. I guide you the best way I can, and all the live streams are designed at talking you through in real time on how these mother truckers work the business, okay? Violet vector candle, volume picking up. Activities picking up in the value area low. This is what we said a minute ago. So we're effectively now starting to see the reality of what could actually unfold. There's that 47 point right there, 42, 47. It's a point of interest. Go back into the bids. What we got? 233, 353, 435, 235. Go on the offers. No one is offering. They're not looking to sell higher. They want to mark it down. Look at the profile of the offers. It's dominated to the offers right now. So they're going to hit the bids, smack the bids, bid down, bid down. They're smacking the bids until they get to a price point where they're able to sustain. That's where you would effectively see the V-shaped play, because these players right here are going to do their best to try and hold out. 434 Bitcoin contracts. Come on, bro. That's a big order. Look at the profile. It's right there. And this 42 zone is very important for Bitcoin because it was the same important zone that they held yesterday on the reversal to the upside. Okay? Do we have any questions? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? People realize a healthy play would be in the 30s low. It could even be legit from a high of 20s. Don't panic. You could take 25. So this is it. Let's really be logical now. Sounds true, but this price point right here, if you go back to YouTube, no one was talking about 30s. No one was talking about 30s or 20s. They were talking 50s and 60s at this price point, okay? We're higher now, okay? In principle, we're at a higher point. Now the 30s and the 25s are being discussed. Why? Haven't we got a golden cross? Come on. That means buy, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Think about it now. This drop down may be healthy for Bitcoin. We might think it's healthy, but we will never know if it's true or not. Whatever price point anybody says, I don't care. I really don't care. When someone says, can't go below 25, that's a little bit it's a little bit far away now, bro. You know, you've got a better chance of getting to 40, 100K and going all the way down towards 25 and saying that's indefinite, it will never go there. You can't ever say never. You can't. I don't care what anybody says. It's only a market cap of 875 billion. Granted, okay, there are only a few people holding a large amount of Bitcoin, okay? But what you've got to understand is how frequently it is purchased, how frequently it is sold, what's going to trigger people, the fear, the greed behind whether or not Bitcoin's going to go higher or not. Because if you've got these players that hold all the Bitcoin, no one else is buying it, it doesn't matter. Their Bitcoin is pointless. It's just going to go down in value because there's no demand for it. We ain't got the demand just yet. And that's the truth. You thought the ETF was going to bring the demand. Well, they're doing things behind closed doors. And as long as this ETF keeps on going down, okay, as long as it keeps going down, then we're not really seeing a demand for Bitcoin because this is Wall Street's chart. This is Wall Street's chart. This is Bitcoin adoption by Wall Street. And when we understand that and this bad boy starts to move up, Bitcoin will start moving up. That's my belief. They've just practically given us a route to understanding if Bitcoin is being purchased or sold by big players. That's this chart. Although it has no representation of Bitcoin's price, the mechanics of the ETF requires the authorized participants to pull up some cash crates, shares, funds that represent the value of monies that they want to invest with Bitcoin. That gets given to an intermediary or a transfer agent who's then going to go and buy that Bitcoin on behalf of the authorized participants, and then it gets converted into a trust which represents the value of the ETF or a holding of the ETF. Right now, they're doing it privately. When this bad boy starts moving up, that's when we'll start seeing Bitcoin moving up. Capiche? Ladies and gentlemen, mad love and respect. I will be checking in with you all later on tonight. We'll have a look at a few altcoins. I say that all the time, but tonight, we're generally going to be looking at altcoins. Have yourselves a good trading day. Mad love and respect for passing through. I'll check in with you later. Peace.
the BlackRocks of the world that obviously, and Larry Fink changed his view.
No, wait, hold on.
of
This is the wrong one. This is
and
not the one I
maybe
wanted
he
to play.
changed his
Wait.
view because you think he...
This is the one I wanted to play. Listen to how...
Cryptocurrencies, there are two types. There's a cryptocurrency which might actually do something. Think of a cryptocurrency as an embedded smart contract in it, and that we can use it to buy and sell real estate and move data. That may have value.
The idea of tokenizing.
Tokenizing things that you do something with. And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that. And so on the Bitcoin, there's, first of all, and I'm not trying to make a joke here. There are use cases, AML, fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, sex trafficking. Those are real use cases, and you see it being used for hundreds, maybe $50 or $100 billion a year for that. That is the end use case. Everything else is people train among themselves. So
speculate.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now, my last statement, the last time I ever talk about Bitcoin, is I defend your right to do Bitcoin. I think, it's okay. I don't want to tell you what to do. So my personal advice would be don't get involved. But I don't want to tell any one of you what to do. It's a free country.
What do you make of BlackRock? What do you make of the other firms, the BlackRocks
So
of the world?
he's telling it's a free country, but he's telling you not to get involved in an asset that's got better returns than any other asset that his bank has been able to recommend to you in the last 10 or 15 years or whatever it is. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Jamie Dimon anymore. I was having a nice day until that happened. Actually, I wasn't having a nice day because my researchers went to Cannabistas yesterday. You're never going to live the down the day that you went to Cannabistas. Let's talk about altcoins because that's why you guys are here. Remember, we're not a primarily Bitcoin channel. We're primarily an altcoin channel. We're a degen channel. We love degen. What we do love also when we degen, I want to show you. Let me get my mouse here. So we like this chart pattern on Bitcoin. So you can see that this lower low is starting to get a little bit convincing. Now, when the dominance goes into a lower low, we could get this pattern over here playing out. And I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this pattern. It's quite an important altcoin pattern. So we are repeating this pattern here on the Bitcoin dominance. And it looks like we may hit this part of the breakdown. If it does, it's coming a little bit sooner than we expected. But, nonetheless, if someone gives you a gift and the gift comes a little bit sooner than expected, you don't kick the gift in the mouth. You see, so here's the higher the top. Here's the lower high. Here's the lower low coming in over here. That's exactly the pattern that started to play out over here. Now, the reason why this is important, the reason why this is super important is because let's go back to this tweet, and you can actually see it here on the tweet. Let's examine the 2 time periods from January to December 2020. Total 3 does a 5x. So that's the first part of this chart. It's this part over here. So January to December 2020. From here to around here. So Total 3 does a 5x, Solana does a 10x, and Atom does a 2x. But if you look at what happens when the Bitcoin dominance dropped significantly like that, Total 3 does an 8x, Solana does 150x, and Atom does an 8x. So why is this important? It says, now cast your mind back to December 2020. Altcoins were pumping. Total 3 market cap was at 150 billion. If you held some good quality projects, you were probably up many multiples. If you weren't already in the market, it would have been easy to think that you were late to the party. I won't buy now. Altcoins have already run. However, that is exactly what happened. And then Bitcoin topped at 55%. We could be seeing exactly the same thing happening right here, right now. And that's what I think we need to prepare ourselves for. And as I'm seeing a lot of posts on Twitter saying that a lot of alts are actually looking really, really, really good. So let's look at the altcoins, which are actually looking really good. Just quickly see, is there anything happening in the newsroom? Remember, the newsroom is where we live. It's where our researchers post everything that's happening in real time. The best way to watch it, go to the Banter Bubbles, click on the hourly, which, by the way, is beautiful and green. Renders up 2.25% in the last hour. ICP is up 1.47% in the last hour. And if you look here, you can see why. And generally, I promise you that there's a lot more aggressive posting in the newsroom. But today, the researchers are a little bit hungover. And so today, we have to give them a little bit of a break to recuperate and to recover. Anyway, be that as it may, let's see which tokens are actually moving up. So Render, I'll tell you in a second why Render's moving up. BitTenso, Tau. By the way, the BitTenso breakout was actually posted in the news group ages ago today. So you would have maybe caught this breakout here. They're talking about it going back to this level first, $320 first, and then if it breaks the $320 level, then it could go up to like 385, maybe back to all-time highs. The other one that's broken out pretty recently is Render. What are your price levels for Render, sir? Quickly draw lines on your charts and tell me what the price levels for Render are. The reason why Render maybe is breaking out, if you want to add a fundamental to back your technical thesis, it could be because Apple's previewing new entertainment experiences with Apple Vision Pro, and that, of course, would require GPU power. It also could be because Apple's Pro VR headset will be available in the USA in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks' time, it will be available in the US. So that could be it. Yeah, what are your levels for Render, sir? Close above 4.3. And then the next level? 4.7. Okay, 4.3 and 4.7 for Render. So again, we're big Render fans. Also, you'll see later on that there's a fund, the fund that I'm speaking of, one of the most successful funds in crypto, says that they're extremely bullish on Render. And we're going to talk about that fund in a second. The other chart, which is looking really fucking good, and I think that maybe that's about to have a very good run, is Solana. So we took a little bit of a break talking about Solana. And the reason why we did it was actually quite strategic. We don't want to be like a one-trick pony. Like when you come here, it's like Solana. That's not what we're about. We want to show you that we really look at it. But it looks like now everything is pointing back at Solana having another little run. So what do we mean? Let's look at all the data points that you can see. The first thing is simplistically on the daily chart, we've just had a breakout. And I think we'll close above the breakout, and that can take us a little bit higher. I'm not the only one who sees this. Crypto Dog, who is I think one of the smartest guys on Twitter, he says this should be the final time Solana cracks 100 before liftoff. So maybe this is the actual liftoff. Someone says Solana looking good here. We'll talk about that in a second. Then the co-founder of Glassnode, he's looking at this. He says, we watched Heinrich Zieberg and Raoul Paul talking on Crypto Man Runs Banter Show about the Sol ETH ratio. They both agreed it looks bullish, but just how much could it rally? The chart suggests that the Sol ETH could rise from 0.76 to 0.14. In other words, Sol may outperform ETH by a multiple of 4 to 5 times. And I very much agree with that thesis. And I'll show you in a second that I also agree with another fund that's given a huge target on Sol. So we do believe that Sol is going to outperform ETH. Also, if you want to, again, put fundamentals onto the technicals, if you look at the outflow from ETH, you can see that the outflow from ETH on the wormhole bridge shows you that Sui was one of the custodians of a lot of money. And you know that the Sui ecosystem recently pumped. And then the other ecosystem which got a lot of money from ETH was Solana. So Solana got $109 million and Sui got $135 million. So you can see that there's fundamentals, cash flows are starting to move into Solana. So now, another big reason why Solana could pump is because probably in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks, a $600 million airdrop is going to happen onto Solana. So that is confirmed now. We had Jupiter, which is the DEX aggregator, the decentralized exchange aggregator on Solana. They came out and said Jupiter will launch on the 31st of Jupuri. Very bad, Jupuri. It's the marketing guys. It's technological people trying to be marketers. So they are now in the final sprint of the launch. And when they launch, they've said that they're going to launch. Here it is over here. Alpha like this, you won't get anyway. We're going to drop nearly 1 million tokens. 1 million tokens. And if you look at what the tokens are trading at right now, the tokens are trading at 61 cents. So you can go to this exchange called Hyperliquid, and you can pre-buy tokens at these kind of levels. Now, that would give it a $6 billion fully diluted valuation for Jupiter. Is that a good valuation? Is that a bad valuation? We're going to talk about that in a second. What we know for sure, though, is that every time that we get these airdrops, now you'll notice that the Pith airdrop was a $90 million airdrop and the Jito airdrop was $225 million, and they managed to pump the price of Solana. Why did they manage to pump the price of Solana? Because of this thesis over here. very likely that the natural bid for Sol, as many will rotate and sell their Jupiter into Sol. That's exactly what happens. People get the airdrops. The airdrop is worth a lot of money. They sell the airdrop and because it's free money. And then they start buying other tokens. And you can see that what happened was when Jito came out and when Pith came out, it went up and then it started to come down and started to bleed and bleed and bleed as people started to sell their tokens. And where does that money go? Exactly what I did with my Jito tokens. I took my Jito tokens. When I felt that there was a massive pump, what did I do? I sold them and I put the profits into Sol. Not into ETH, into Sol. The reason I did that was because I thought that the underlying protocol, Jito at the time, was very, very, very overvalued, but I didn't want to be out the market. So I felt that the most logical place to be was to actually stay in the market and actually just put it into the L1. That's like cashing out of the high risk play into the lower risk play. And both times that I did that, it was very successful. And to be honest, when I get my Jupiter airdrop, if it's anywhere near $6 billion fully diluted valuation, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to sell my Jupiter and I'm going to put the profits into Sol. And that way I'm out of the market, but I'm not actually out of the market. You get what I'm saying? I'm still in the race, but I'm just not in Jupiter. Also, when you look at the Sol ETH chart, that's another chart that we should look at. It's printing these beautiful, it looks like it's going to do a beautiful cup and handle over here. So let's keep watching that. I do think, as this tweet says, I think ETH outperforms, Sol outperforms ETH by a margin of 4 to 5x. Remember also that DEXs on Solana are very powerful because the fees are so cheap, people start like jobbing meme coins and stuff like that, which you can't do on Ethereum. You can't really do stuff like that on Ethereum. Also, if you want like a really degen play, I'm not touching this to be honest, but the Jupiter founder does have a dog. His dog is Churro. Okay, so he does have a dog. He owns his own dog coin. I'm out of this one. I'm just letting you know that there is a dog called, don't get into this one. There is a coin called Churro. Churro, what's the market cap here of Churro? Josh, this is the coin you were trading, bro. Josh was trading this coin, eh? He was trading this coin. And Gustavo, okay. He has a nice little watch list for you. If Solana does pump, he has a cool little watch list for you guys to watch. I know you love watch lists, so he has a good one to watch. So you got Pith. It's already pumped, but it will continue to pump. Render, already pumping. Jito, I think it's expensive. I think $2.6 billion valuation is expensive. Rollbit, what's wrong with Rollbit? Why isn't it pumping? Can someone tell me why Rollbit isn't pumping? Like, everyone forgotten that Gamblify is actually a narrative. I think that we should start buying this shit. Radium, Orca is a good one. Yeah, GMT you can buy, just buy the meme coin, buy Bonk, buy Miro, buy Dog, Woof, Hat. I mean, remember, there's so many that you can buy if you want to start playing this on. You can buy, what's the EVM? Neon. Neon is a good one. So yeah, so it depends how degen you want to be. If someone says I'm all in on Churro. Oh man, what have we done? Okay, the other thing that Solana's got going for it. So remember they launched the Saga phone. And the phone was a huge success because initially they had a target of launching 20,000 phones. And I think the price point was like $650. But because they came up with something. And what they came up with was that if you give a meme coin on the phone, if you airdrop a meme coin on the phone, the meme coin becomes the meme, it explodes, then the meme coins on the phone become worth more than the actual phone. And so you kind of got yourself a free phone. And they did that and they got 20,000 phones into the market. And now they're basically saying, look, 20,000 wasn't enough. We're going crazy. We're going balls to the wall. They said having 20,000 sagas in the community hands is a crucial milestone. We have now a community as sizable as some of the largest NFT projects, but now it's time to aim much bigger. There's the new phone, $450. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely aping into making these phone orders because I know there's going to be airdrops on these phones. And I know you're going to be able to sell the phone for more than the money that you pay for it. So now the degens are actually trading phones. We've all become phone traders. We buy and sell mobile phones. That's what we've become. Anywhere where we can buy, if we can find a meme coin hidden in a phone, we're going to buy it. So $450. I'm going to go balls to the wall to try and get some of these things. But it's good to see that they are starting to get a lot of these phones into the market. This is exactly what we needed. The good launch of the first phone was the best advertising for the second phone. And now you can see people are going crazy. So try and get try and get some of these phones if you can, because I think that balls to the wall. That's what I always say, balls to the wall. Did the CEO just say balls to the wall? Okay, stop it. So Saga airdrops are already, so they're talking about Saga airdrops coming onto the phone, Solend announcing that they're going to do an airdrop. So now everybody wants to airdrop onto the phone. Get yourself a phone. Okay, the other thing that's happening on Solana. So we had Fundstrat, which is a big fund, right? Not a big fund, like a company that does analysis. Tommy Lee, you know Tommy Lee, the Asian guy that you see on CNBC sometimes, bullish, always bullish, always bullish. He says that Solana should get to $500 or $600 this cycle, and I think he's right. We have the same target. I haven't even read the report. I just saw this one slide of the report. The reason I haven't read the report is because the researchers who were supposed to send me the report because they were supposed to subscribe went to cannabis this last night. And have you sent me the report? You paid for it and it never came. You're having a great day, sir. So wait, let me get this straight. Hold on a second. You paid for the report. Before we were sitting here, I said, get me the report. You said, cost $80 and you paid for it. And you don't have the report. How are you supposed to run a business? When you pay for the report, your researchers come to work stoned, spend it down the toilet, you give them $80 to buy a report for you, they pay for the report, spend the $80, they don't get the report. Oh man. I don't know what's going on here. We lost our way a bit. Just a second. We seem to have lost our way. Another thing which is happening on Solana is that like Unibot and BananaBot and all these Telegram bots are all it's a comedy of errors here today. People are saying, oof, bad day. You've had a rough day, bro. Kafur, you've had a rough day. Someone says report ragged. One of the other guys, I gotta tell you a funny story. So we have one guy on the team. He's made a lot of money trading Casper. So he arrives here in Cape Town and his luggage doesn't arrive. So I post on the research group, I say, well, just short Casper and long clothes. So I wonder if he's going to go to the mall now and actually buy some clothes. Anyway, back to Solana. So we're also getting the Telegram bots coming back to Solana. So Unibot and BananaBot actually came back are now operational on Solana. And remember, on Solana, it's much more suited for Solana because the fees are much lower and it's much quicker. So you can see 24 hours after launch of Solana, what a launch, $1.3 million of Solana volume, 10,000 registered users on BananaBot. By the way, Banana Gun, we are holders of Banana Gun. 920 referral links created, tons of bug fixes and improvements. You also have Unibot also going on to Solana. Just look at their Solana volume relative to their Ethereum volume. Just look at that. So these bots are coming to Solana. And you can see that as soon as they announced or joined Solana, I mean, Unibot went up 92%, and Banana Gun, you had a bad day today. You didn't put the percentage on Banana Gun. Hasn't moved. Okay, so it says he put the percentages because it hasn't moved. It has moved. I can see the candles. Okay, bad day, bro. All right, let's carry on. Okay, so if you've been staking Celestia, tomorrow's a very good day for you. We have told you guys that there's this whole Celestia narrative. Miles has done airdrop shows about it. If you have been staking Celestia and you now will probably get some of Manta, you're going to get the Manta airdrop. So tomorrow, you're getting Manta launching on Binance Launchpool. For those of you who don't know what Manta is, it's a very fast ETH layer 2. Modular ETH layer 2, it uses or it leverages Celestia for data availability. So it's got, it talks about the Celestia narrative, but also the ETH layer 2 narrative. Also the airdrop narrative. So not only did you get it as an airdrop, but also they have already got 4 airdrops for people who have Manta are going to get airdrops. This is like crypto's become a Ponzi. It's like we just airdrop onto the airdrop, and then you can get an airdrop onto the airdrop of the airdrop. No wonder the SEC doesn't like us. For fuck's sake, like airdrop, can I have an airdrop? And then you get the tokens, and then you get an airdrop on the tokens that you've been airdropped. Now you're holding an airdrop on top of an airdrop, and then you get an airdrop on top of that for you see what's going on here. It's a Ponzi. Okay, so that's the story. If you did, congratulations. If not, wait for our signal tomorrow before you buy this thing, because this thing could come onto the market very, very, very overvalued. All right, let's move on with the show. I said to you that last night I went to, I listened in on a call. I mean, I'm an investor in a fund, and this fund is one of the most prestigious funds in crypto. They've got the best returns in crypto of any fund, and I'm an investor in the fund. And last night, they actually changed their thesis for the first time. I've known the fund for 4 years. I've been an investor for 3 of the 4 years. And last night, for the first time, they actually changed their thesis. And I want to share the thesis with you. But before I share the thesis with you, I just want to share quickly a new sponsor on the show. The sponsor is a very, very, very interesting sponsor. And I really wanted to show it to you today, but I don't have credits. I have to buy credits. So what is the sponsor? It's ChainGPT. They have a lot of AI-related features, but one of the main features that they've got is that they've got this crypto general assistant. So what you do is you can ask it any question about crypto. You can say, please give me a market report, or please show me all the addresses in Ethereum that have been doing X, Y, Z. And this ChainGPT will actually, it's like a chat GPT, but specifically for crypto. And it's part of a much bigger AI crypto ecosystem project, which is called ChainGPT. They've got a token. Go and check out the token. You can stake the token, etc. But for now, and tomorrow or whenever we meet again, I'm going to show you how I actually use this ChainGPT to do research, etc. Also, they've got an AI NFT generator. So if you want to generate like a collection of NFTs, I think you stake the token and you can generate, like, you can say, I want you to generate me 500 tokens that look like Kapoor, just with different hairstyles, and then you get Kapoor NFTs. You can generate your own Kapoor NFTs. So that's our new sponsor. Anyway, back to the show, back to what we were talking about. So the fund that I'm talking about is Multicoin Capital. Multicoin Capital is really one of the best funds in crypto. Their last fund, I mean, it was huge. I think it had like multiple X's returns. These guys see the future. They know the future. They know the narratives that are going to pump. And the truth is, if you can get into a project that Multicoin is invested in, almost 10 out of 10 times that project lands up making money. Now, I've made a lot of money investing with Multicoin, but one of the reasons that I invested is so that I can get access to the Multicoin call that happens every couple of months, every quarter. And yesterday was the quarterly call. And for the first time, they shared their thesis for 2024, and they shared something that really, really, really blew my mind for these people. So what blew my mind? Well, they shared all the things that they were really excited about. And a lot of things that they were excited about are very similar to the things that we were excited about. Like, they're talking about exchanges, and they're talking about exchanges that trade things that are easy to price. But they're saying that the thing that they're excited about the most is how crypto exchanges can trade things that ordinarily you couldn't have traded. Things like NFTs, things like attention, which you can now trade. You can trade attention credits. You can trade NFTs on crypto exchanges. And that's one of the things that they're really, really, really excited about. The other thing that they really, really, really excited about is stablecoins. Of course, they're excited about. But then they're really excited about DEPA. And we've spoken about this DEPA narrative. They spoke specifically around things like Render, Hive Mapper, Helium, all these physical infrastructure projects, decentralized physical infrastructure projects. Now, one of the guys was asked yesterday, he said, look, do you think that DEPA can be bigger than DeFi? And what he said is, yeah, because everybody's going to eventually use 5G contracts or a mapping technology like Waze that is decentralized, but not everybody's going to use smart financial contracts for staking and stuff like that. So that's one of the ways to look at it. The other narrative that these guys spoke about was they spoke about a thing called fully homomorphic encryption, FHE. And I think it's a term that we need to start getting familiar with. So what is it? It is like the future of zero knowledge proofs. It is like the future of sending private data on the blockchain in a smart way. Now, why is that important? Because their thesis, or what they said, is they said, look, the reality is that like JP Morgan and all the big banks, they want to use blockchain because they know that Larry Fink said that blockchain is more efficient and everybody should be on blockchain and tokenization of assets should be on blockchain. But the problem is that the reality of the blockchain technology as it currently stands is that they can't have every transaction transparent on the blockchain. They just can't have every detail of every transaction transparent on the blockchain. We know why, because they're absolute criminals. But I mean, for them, they just don't want us to know that they're absolute criminals. So what they want to do is they want to share information on the blockchain. They want to share information on the blockchain without actually sharing critical details. And for that, what they use this technology called fully homomorphic encryption. What is it? It is an advanced form of cryptography that enables arbitrary computation over encrypted data. It's almost like instead of sending text, you send encrypted text. And it almost says like, it's almost like, tell me that you're 21 without actually, that you're above 21 years old without actually telling me your age so that we can carry on with our transaction on the blockchain. And that's really what it is. And they talk about two projects here. They talk about Phoenix, which is pioneering FHE on-chain. And then they talk about Zama, which is another project, which is in this kind of tech stack. So this is not the part that blew my mind. So again, what are they? Deepen, trading, FHE, they're very, very excited about. And then they said something at the end of the call, which kind of blew my mind. And what they said is, they said, we're finally ready to move our investment thesis above the layer one. Now, that's a big statement. And the reason why I think that is such a big statement is because that's almost the green light for us to start investing above the layer one. Now, what do we mean investing above the layer one? I think what they meant is that they believe that the scalability issues and the speed issues and the cost issues have been solved. Solved by Solana and FireDancer, solved by Say. Say's got a much faster time than Solana, but of course they have less validators, so you can say it's less decentralized. There's other projects which are coming out, like Saga. Saga is a project which is coming out on Cosmos. Very, very, very smart project, because what do? They allow any project to create a blockchain, and they charge very little for the blockchain. It's like $200 a month to run a blockchain. And it's the same set of validators. Which keep validating the transaction. So imagine like every project just starts a new blockchain, but you're using the same validators to power these, what they call chainlets. So they believe now that the layer one problem is solved and we can start moving up the tech stack. And the reason why I said that's so exciting is because it means that there's going to be a whole lot of new investment opportunities that we can feel comfortable to invest in above the layer one. Now, I don't know if the layer one project has been solved. I've seen a lot of projects that are still solving the layer one. We're making investments into a lot of projects into layer one. We have sponsors which are solving the layer one. One of the sponsors is this company over here called Devi. Devi is apparently, they can do something like 8 million transactions per second. Go and read up about it at devv.io. Also, there's a link below if you want to sign up for their white paper, for their IDO. You can still sign up and go and read up about it. It's a very unique, very, very, very fast blockchain that you can do that you can sign up for. Go and do the research. I mean, I haven't invested yet. I may invest. I'm not 100% sure yet. Haven't done the research, but probably worth investing. They are one of our sponsors, so go and have a look at it. And then lastly today, remember, Bybit have this competition. In fact, not lastly. It's not lastly. Bybit have this competition. You can win up to $2 million. You have to sign up with a Bybit account. There's a link below to sign up for a Bybit account. Go and sign up for this competition. You can win up to $2 million. I'm going to put $10,000 into an account, and I'm going to trade that account, and hopefully we can get that account as close to, I don't know, $1 million as possible. But we're going to go really risky. If you want to join me, sign up on Bybit below. There is a link below. Also, lastly, this is like really lastly, if you want to win big, go to Banter Bubbles, click on the win big, predict the price of Solana, Ethereum, Sui, Say, Bonk, and Arbitrum. You have to have a Banter exchange account with any one of our partner exchanges. And then you can win up to $10,000 every single month of each one of these tokens. That's $60,000 every single month. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys again tomorrow. I've got a massive show for you guys. Until then, trade well, my friends.